So it is it's gonna be it might kick us off at about 30 minutes because they decided that their goodwill towards men was over and the COVID situation is no longer necessary. So they're trying to get $30 a month out of people.
Okay,
So we might
gotcha.
just need to reconnect after that, but other than that,
Fair enough.
should be good to go. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Tangents Podcast. I think this is going to be season 3. This is the first episode of 2023. I think it's only right. And today I have with us Rashaad Bell from TikTok, one of the most one of the biggest voices of reason I see on TikTok, because a lot of people like to
Oh my
go all the
God.
way right, all the way left, all the way crazy, and he's like, maybe it's just not that big of a deal. And so, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Thank you for that intro. Wow. Thank you for allowing me on your show as well. This is
Absolutely, man.
amazing.
My pleasure. It's been so fun interacting with you. You gave me one of the biggest compliments, just like you spontaneously said that you like enjoy my content, and I just like that's something that like any creator aspires to just hear, like from anybody. But just to hear you
Yeah.
be like, "Hey, I was gonna snap on you, but I like this dude. He's doing good shit." So like, which is like I
I've become
completely understand. I definitely in text, I can definitely
uh-huh.
sound out of pocket.
Oh no, I was going to troll you. I realized that I've become somewhat of a troll on TikTok unintentionally, but I was going to get you, and I was like, wait a minute, let me look, and I was like, whoa, I like this guy. He's not talking crazy. I probably need to pay attention to the video a little bit more because I make replies and I don't even watch the whole video sometimes.
I'm the
So,
same way.
but
I've gone back and forth with people so many times, and I'm just like, "What are you talking about?" And then they're like, they like repeat themselves for the third or fourth time, and I'm just like, "Oh, oh, no, I get it
sorry.
now. I get it now." like we've been back and forth on this all day, but like I see what you're saying.
Sorry about that. I kicked the thing, and no, okay, there we go.
No worries.
There we go. My bad. This is my first time doing a Zoom in and of itself, and first time being on somebody's podcast. I'm a little nervous.
Oh, no worries, man. Nothing to be nervous about. The way this podcast goes and the way it's been going since fucking we started this whole nonsense. Me and my cousin, we would just get
Uh,
on and we would talk. It was started as a movie review thing, right? We were reviewing the Marvel movies and the DC movies, and then it became the TV shows, and we started just talking about all the sorts of shit. And he's a big car guy, so we started talking about car shit. And then
uh,
we just started to just branch off into random shit, and we cannot stay on topic, so that's why we just ended up calling it tangents. It's just like we can start on a topic, but it's like, talking about the Marvel movies brings up the DC movies and then brings up film in
no, I feel
general
you.
and film reviews, and it becomes this whole thing. So it's like by the time you're done, you're like, where the fuck did we start this?
I feel you. I used to do a podcast. I still pay for it, so it's still up. It was called The Rant. Uh, I couldn't find anybody to be on it, so it was just me, and I would just sit there and just talk for 30, 40, an hour long. And I just go from topic to topic to topic to topic. But yeah, I did it for a hot minute, hot minute. It didn't pick up here in the United States, but they India. Shout out to India, my
Big
peeps in
shout out
India.
to India for
They
sure,
they
man.
actually know me. There's a little pocket of people that was on some Rashaad Bell bullshit over in India. I saw the stats. I still remember you guys.
No, it's really super interesting. Before I moved the podcast to Anchor, I didn't look at. I really like. I couldn't get around. There was like too many analytics on every aspect, and on YouTube we were getting
Mhm.
like zero traction. I don't know. I was doing something wrong with tagging or something on YouTube. We were like 6 or 7 views, and I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Like that's triple our normal fucking count. So it's like we were not, but then like I literally took the whole backlog, put it all on Anchor, which moved it to Spotify, and then I see the numbers and I see people watching, and I'm like, and listening, and I'm like, oh shit! And now Spotify's got video too, so I'm just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna upload video to both sides and whatever. And then when I
So
started doing that, it started doing a little numbers on YouTube as well. So but especially when when it gets to be a hot button issue, when you start talking about the stuff that people want to be mad about,
yeah,
that's that
congratulations, congratulations. You are what to aspire to.
is like man, it's an interesting space, the podcast space, because like podcasts existed for a long time before this big boom, before everybody literally now everybody has a podcast. Now it has got like I
Yeah,
feel like 5 years ago it was a joke. Oh, like everybody has a podcast. No, now I think everybody. I think pretty much we've gotten
everybody has one now. Yeah, everyone has one now, but like it
at
didn't
least
used to be that way.
at
I
least
mean,
one.
I remember back in the day when I used to listen to him. This was like when Kevin Smith was just starting out, maybe.
Oh yeah.
Greg Miller was still at
That's right.
IGN.
He used to have just Smodcast. He had just the Smodcast. You had to go on his
Yeah.
website. Fuck, I remember
Uh
that.
what's the black guy on Fat Man on Batman with him? I can't remember his name for some reason.
Oh
But
my
this was
god,
like,
I'm so bad with names.
yeah, but this was like before he was even on
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
and it was just what you call him. And I used to podcasts used to be the joint, They used to be a joint. They would like take the place of a TV show. But now, because wasn't everybody doing it? But now, like everybody and your mama has one. Not that I'm knocking it, because like, who am I? I had a podcast and I wasn't talking about shit. So
But you always feel like I feel like as a creator, I'm one person, but as a listener, I'm a completely different person. Like as a listener, as a consumer of media, I'm like, do this, because I'm trying to like today. I literally, oh my god, I can't even believe this happened today. This I don't even want to say I kind of do want to say the dude's name because I'm kind of an instigator at heart.
go
uh,
ahead, drama.
I'm not gonna say his name. Anyway, so a creator, he's got a campaign. It's a Kickstarter campaign for a comic book.
Drinking the tea.
And he's had multiple campaigns. Like I've seen his stuff. Like I have his comics digitally from other stuff. So like I've seen his work, and people know this dude. This dude is like known. Like he has a blue check mark on Twitter and everything. And I saw that, oh, he's putting out his, the final issue of his current series or whatever. And I was just like, because I buy trades. I don't buy single issue comics. I don't have the fucking space for them. Like I buy trades. That's what I can somewhat manage. I've got shit sitting sideways, but
I had to go 100% digital. I couldn't even manage that anymore.
It's getting there. It's definitely getting there, especially with my fucking X-Men collection on the side here. But like,
how many do you own?
I don't know. I don't. No. This is the point. This is the whole podcast. No, I don't know. I fucking had to switch collection apps because I collect everything, and the shit just keeps disappearing. Their databases are garbage, and their update system it's like, oh, we'll have some shit at the end of the year, and it's like they said they were going to have a desktop access. Like, well, first of all, they said they would have a desktop app at the end of last year. What we got is basically a text list of fucking comics in a browser link. Like that's what we got as a promise of a desktop app. I'm like, you guys are fucking garbage. So I just got mad. It was like, it wasn't expensive. It was like $15 one time. You do whatever. So I'm gonna move all my like simple shit to that and leave my simple shit on that. And I finally bit the bullet and bought the fucking CLZ app with the fucking online, and their shit is like streamlined. It's like you manually hit sync. So like if your shit's on your phone, you hit sync, it's on the browser in like 12 seconds.
Like, oh, that's crazy.
So that's once I actually sit down and scan everything, I'm gonna have an actual count. It's probably in the range of 1,000 books by now, but yeah, I have a ton of shit because my interests are all over the place, which is kind of the whole premise behind this podcast too. So, but yeah, so this dude's like, oh, I'm putting out this third comic, and so I get on there. I'm like, hey, are you going to do a trade paperback after this book? Like after this final book, are you going to then do a trade paperback Kickstarter? And he's like, I'd love to do a hardcover with some extra bonus stuff in there, but like no set date or anything. Like I don't know, I don't know if what's going to happen. So I was like, all right, cool. Like, how about throwing the physical trades for your other stuff? Because I haven't gotten those yet. So I was like, well, how about throwing your physical trades for your other books as add-ons to the digital tier for this series? And he's like, who are you to tell me how to modify my campaign? And I was like, that's a really weird way to respond to someone who's asking you to give him away, to give you money. Like, I'm like, I would like to give you the most money I would want to give you right now. And with what you're offering, give me a way to do that. And he's like, I don't know, who the fuck is you? And I'm like, what the fuck is happening? Well, that's what I'm saying. Like from a and like I know, like he could be having a bad day or whatever, but it was just funny as shit to me because I'm like, I'm asking this dude to give me a way to give him more money, and he's like, nah, my add-ons are good. I was like, what the fuck?
You know how creators are, they get personal about this shit. You was probably like the 100th person that day that hit him up with the same suggestion that he don't want to do because he can't afford it or something. So he's already like
It's funny
exited
too
off.
because it's like like I said, he's a known dude. Like he's like hosted shows for brand names. You know what I mean? Like he's a known dude. So I'm like, he's got to have more money than like your average Joe fucking kickstarting their first book.
You don't know that though.
That's true.
You
That's
don't
true.
know that.
That's
I
true.
mean, like, how much are comics really selling? Like 300,000? Like for a poppin' X-Men title or
Oh
something a month?
no. I was just having there's a gentleman by the name of Lewis Porter Jr. I remember his name forever
Mhm.
because I friended him on Facebook because he was talking mad shit about the whole industry. A lot of motherfuckers because when was it Ed Brubaker came out, he was like, I got more for my walk-on role on Winter Soldier in royalties from the Screen Guild Association than I did my anything from Disney and Marvel for writing the fucking
Ooh,
comic and coming up with the Winter
yeah.
Soldier. And I was just like, okay, but like you made that work under the contract that you made that. So like I always felt like you signed the fucking contract. You knew the fucking deal. And they were already making
Yeah,
movies when you wrote this. So like what fuck was
yeah.
like
But it's one thing of knowing it, and then there's another thing of like, oh wow, everybody's like becoming millionaires except me. Like, really?
and I feel that
Because
I could definitely understand that if I would, but to me, that's the part that especially now I think
uh-huh.
after 2012 anybody that signed a contract that didn't guarantee them an on-screen appearance, didn't guarantee them like I don't want to say a percentage of fucking ticket sales, but like a bonus. Hey, you use my plot elements
Yeah,
and my designs from my story that I'm making for y'all, throw me 10 G's, you know what I'm saying, throw
yeah,
me
but
15 G's.
I don't know if those contracts exist. And even if they do exist, I mean, like if you can modify it, your contract with Disney when they hire you for Marvel, or even if they do exist, I don't even know if creatives think like that. You know,
That's
well,
the
I know
problem.
some of them do, but
Sure.
some of them are so like just focused on the art of it that whole you get Stanley and Jack Kirby. You see what I'm saying? Jack Kirby is the man behind it, but he's shitty with contracts. So everybody praises Stan Lee, but without Jack, you see what I'm saying? We wouldn't have Jack. So it's like that's it. I don't know. Creatives just don't think about that part of the business of the industry. They're never focused on it. And then they look around and they're just like, it's not like there's money to spare. I mean, it's not like you don't have the money to kick me off 100,000. The movie made $1 billion. I
That's
can't
what I'm
get
saying.
100,000. You
Yeah,
see what I'm saying? And also it's just like you got to make those guys happy because you're just mining Marvel Comics to make $1 billion movies anyway. So
right.
so that is your think tank. So pay your think tank money so your think tank don't go over and do a James Gunn and
Yeah.
start firing all of the minorities and shit. We don't want them to do. I don't know if James Gunn is firing the minorities. I just know that a bunch of minorities over at HBO Max just seemingly got fired. And when he
No,
got
that
hired,
was before they hired him. That was before they hired him.
oh,
That
that
was
was
some
Laszlo.
real fucking that was like we're not waving the racist flag, but we might be wearing a t-shirt. Like that was a little fucking
Yeah.
weird. You know, that was a little suspect. As soon you see the shows that are being canceled, the names that are being written off, and I'm like, what exactly is happening over here?
There,
And then they're like,
it's
we
all
want to capture
minority shit.
middle America. I was like, what's middle America look like
Ooh,
to
we know
you?
what that's code for. I get
What's that
we
look
know what that's
like? Just
code
give me a
for.
brief description of middle America. I just want to visualize it.
I'm not a fan of James Gunn. I like some of his stuff, but like I like the first Guardians. I did not like the second Guardians, but
The second
if you
Guardians was
actually
definitely not as good. Definitely not
when
as
you
good.
look at the credits, he is the sole screenwriter on the second Guardians movie, but he is not the sole screenwriter on the first one. You
Hmm.
see what I mean?
Well, that's
I
unfortunate.
like I like Peacemaker, but it took me like 2 episodes to like get into the whole shock jock comedy. Once I got there, it was like, oh, okay, I see what you're doing over here. But I don't forgot what
I
we were even talking
I
about. I
didn't
jumped
want
off
so
subject. My bad.
tell me no, that's all right, that's all right. Tell me from your perspective, is Peacemaker in the show the same dude he was in the movie? Because to me in the movie, I liked his character because he
Yes.
was a true bastard. And like this is the guy who he thinks he's right, regardless of what the actual situation is. So like, even though he turned his back on his whole fucking team and everything, like he's backstabbed everybody, killed fucking Flag and all that shit. Spoilers, I guess, for a 5-year-old movie.
Yeah.
um, even though he did all that shit, in his head, it was all right. It was all justified because he was following orders. And that to me, I was
Yes.
like, this guy is evil because everybody else especially in the first fucking Suicide Squad movie, all the villains had tragic backstories and everybody's fucking, boohoo emotional and shit. And I'm like, I don't need my villains to be relatable. It's okay for them just to be bad. Like I'm perfectly fine with that.
I miss bad guy villains. Or if like, dude, if you want to make a villain movie, just make the villains do villainous shit, and then at the end they just don't
Bite
win.
it. They bite it.
You see, yeah, and they all die horribly in horrible fashions.
Yeah.
Oh, Brian Michael Bendis did a mini series on the Sinister Six, and it was all told from their point of view. It was in the Ultimate Universe, and so it was like all six of them meet in prison, and it's about them in prison and then them eventually breaking out of prison, forming a fucking gang,
Oh yeah, I remember
going
that.
to attack the president, and then meeting up with Spider-Man on the front lawn, and then Spider-Man beats him, and that's the end of the series. That's how you can do like a
Yeah.
villain movie where you keep the villains. They were doing villainous shit the entire time, but at the end, they met the end. But why can't the villains win sometimes? I'm over 40. I want to see movies where the bad
Like
guy
I'm
wins.
okay. Like I'm okay.
Just
To
sometimes,
me,
not all
to
the
me,
time.
it's just like give me the story from that perspective. What I don't like, and I'm just really, really getting bored of, is what if Superman was a bad guy, or like the
Yeah.
realistic take of Superman, or whatever the fuck all the fucking right-wing crazies that took him 3 seasons to realize that Homelander was the bad guy, like whatever they fucking call him. I don't need that. He could just be the bad guy out the gate because, like, in Invincible, his dad
Oh,
is
that was
an
perfect.
interesting character because he just came out and he wasn't like, I'm pretending. He was like, I was just pretending long enough to get my shit done. You got your powers. We could go now. We could take over this whole fucking bitch. Like that was it was like there was no
Yeah.
like pretense. There was no like, oh, we got to keep the fucking shit for the cameras. That's why I really did. You see season 3 of Boys?
Is that the one where the supernatural dude came?
Yeah.
Yeah, I seen it.
I was season 2. I was
I
like,
didn't
this
like
is
it.
this show's dumb. I got through, like, they got to the fucking hero-gasm, which like they made this big fucking deal on the internet, and I was like, there was a quote from Carl Urban where he's like, we ran out of fake sperm, and I was expecting a shot of just like a wall splattered or some shit, and I was like, this was just gory. It wasn't even like the sexually gross shit that I was expecting that they all made it out to sound like. This was just gory and dumb. And then by the end, was like, you had this opportunity to get rid of Homelander, and I was like, holy shit, we're actually going to do this. We're going to kill off one of these main characters, and then we're going to see what we have to deal with after the fact. And he fucking softens up in the last 2 seconds, and he's like, this guy really likes this kid. He doesn't want him to die. I guess I won't kill this motherfucker. And I was like, what the fuck, dude? Like,
yeah, I didn't like how the Soldier Boy character was done, and all of these random dudes with powers popping up that he's killing. I'm like, who are these people? Where did you guys come from? This wasn't what I wanted. But
it's I don't know.
He's still a good actor.
He's a great actor. There's no question about that. He's a great fucking actor. I was just really disappointed. And then I went and watched the fucking beginning of Titan season 3.
Oh man, that started off banging.
Season 2 was good. Like,
weirdly
fucking good.
I hate Watch Titans because the storylines are trash, just fucking trash.
Yeah,
But the production quality is above par.
I
The
cannot
action
even
scenes are
agree with you
above
more. I
par.
can't even
But
agree
the
with you more.
script, I just be like, what are you guys doing? This shit doesn't make any sense.
This dummy
But
shit.
this uh, they only were allowed to use Lex Luthor for one episode. That's why he wasn't in the entire season for that,
I didn't even
for
get
the
to
thing.
Lex Luthor. You know where I said fuck this. I
Oh my
bounced out of the
God.
season.
That season one, I mean, no, not season one, season three, episode one. It was like I don't know what happened, but it was like the pedigree of writing stepped up. They introduced Lex Luthor. It was the guy that plays
That's four.
Bosch,
That's four. Isn't that four?
whichever one the new season is.
That's four. No. Three is the fucking Red Hood season.
Okay, yeah.
I didn't
So
even get
whichever
to
one the
four.
new
I didn't even
season
get to
is.
fucking fourth. Season three is I bounced out when Bruce Wayne walked
That's
into the fucking house, dropped a crowbar
first.
on the floor, and said, "He's dead. The city's yours. I quit." And I was like, "What the fuck
Man,
just happened? What is happening
man.
right now? I'm done. I can't fucking do
First,
it."
first of all, they were getting handled by Deathstroke. And I'm looking at this dude and I'm like, Arrow Deathstroke would run through this entire team if
Oh
y'all
my
letting
god.
this old man Deathstroke handle you like this. But yeah. No, I hate watch it, but like season four, the writing just took it just shot upwards. I was like, holy shit. Did you hire new writers? This shit is actually really, really good.
Did they
Lex
fix the
Luthor
audio
is a
finally? Because for two and a half
I
fucking seasons, it was like dialogue, and then it was like explosions, and then dialogue, and then explosions, and I'm like, what the fuck is happening? Like, this isn't hard. It's just a fucking
I
level in
think
the
I
timeline.
think that's the app. I think that's the app.
You think it's oh, I see. You think the app is just garbage, which is cool.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
possible.
Well, it depends. It depends.
No, because
Which
it was
app
the
are you
same
watching
way
it on?
it was the same way in DC when it was on DC Infinite or whatever the fuck it was called before DC
Uh-huh.
Universe. It was the
Oh, okay,
same
okay,
way.
fair enough.
It was the same way
Fair
because
enough.
I
I
started
might be
watching that
thinking
show when it
about
first came out.
I might be thinking of Paramount Plus. That's the one with the shitty app. But yeah, yeah, I'm telling you, they got the guy that played Bosch. He was playing Lex Luthor. The Superman is like he wants to go meet Lex, so they go to Metropolis. I was like, holy shit, this thing is banging, like legit. And then I found out that Lex Luthor dies immediately. The next episode, they were only allowed to use him for one episode, and then they weren't given permission for any other thing. And I tapped out after that. I was like, I'm not even going to do this. No, I'm not going to do it.
It's a stupid show. We I don't think we ever got an actual Batman appearance. We got like shadows and shit.
No,
Which I
no,
think is
no,
which
no.
I
You
think
get
goes back
Khaleesi's
to like
husband, one of the husbands.
it's like we can't do Batman shows unless it's like Batman, like it's Batman shows. Because
Well,
that's
the TV
even on
guys
Gotham,
aren't allowed.
we didn't get a Batman anything until the last fucking episode for like 30 seconds.
The TV guys aren't allowed. There are a handful of this is like behind the scenes shit, but they're like a handful of characters that none of the TV guys can get to play with. And that's like Batman, Superman, like the main or whatever. They just Warner Brothers just do not give them the go ahead to use those characters
Oh
at
yeah,
all,
on the
which is
CW,
why
like the fact that the fact that Superman showed up, I was blown away in the CW shows.
I will admit, have you watched that Superman show? The
Uh,
CW Superman show?
he's fucking great. He is great.
That
She
show
is
was
a
banging.
fantastic Lois. I'm interested to see how season 3 plays out with the recast of not Jonathan, the other one. Yeah, they gave him the wrong fucking name, so I can never remember his fucking name.
You talking about the one that has the little curly fro?
No,
Well, I've
the
only
blonde
seen.
kid.
Oh, the blonde kid. He's leaving. Oh, I've only seen the
No,
first
that is Jonathan.
season of
That is
that one.
Jonathan. That is Jonathan. Jonathan is the blonde. Because that was the challenging expectations or whatever. Because I was like,
Yeah, they didn't need two
I
stunties
was
on
like,
that.
this guy's the track star. This guy's the like all town boy. I'm like, he's not gonna get powers. They're gonna give it to the emo kid because we're gonna fucking what's that fucking? I always forget the damn term, but it's like we're gonna everyone's gonna expect this. We're gonna do the opposite.
I thought they were gonna do like he gets powers, and then eventually the other one, like he gets powers, it causes like a tension or rift between the two. And then the other one gets his powers later on, but now he's a bad guy, villainous.
That would have
I
been the
thought maybe they were
CW
going to
way.
go
That would have
route.
been the true CW way to do it for sure. Because
Hey,
they can't
hey,
do.
I'm gonna need you to put some respect on the CW's name over there.
Listen, they could not
They were
resist
popping in the beginning.
drama for any reason. It doesn't matter what the fucking plot was. We're gonna dramify it. It's like 9 or 8 seasons of Barry being like, I don't know if I'm good enough, and somebody being kidnapped and missing, somebody being inaccessible. It's just like, I'm sorry. 3 times a season, I gotta hear, "Run, Barry, run!" Like, God,
oh my God, I got chills. I got chills. Listen, season 1 of The Flash, hands down, is a legitimately good superhero shit. The first 2 seasons of Arrow, absolutely banging
top dog
superhero
Batman
shit.
show.
And I will fucking go. I will. Yeah, they wanted to do Batman, they weren't allowed, so they went Green Arrow.
Did.
And for any of your female viewers or other people like me, Vampire Diaries, very, very good. Originals, very, very good. So not all this hate on the CW. I want to buy
No. Here's the thing. I don't have a problem with the CW. It's just the formula. Let me tell you. I was hanging out. This was when the 100 first came out. When the 100 first came out, I was sitting at my mom's house.
Oh, that's
and I turn around and I don't know which, because it's her TV. She just has the TV on all the time for the last like 30 years. So I don't know what fucking channel it's on. But I turn around and I see it's like moody lighting, a bunch of pretty young people, and I was like, this is the CW. And then it's like 30 seconds later, it goes to commercial. I was like, it's the CW. I was right.
Most definitely. But now they do have their trash shows on there. But listen, I'm telling, hey, Riverdale is ridiculous.
The 100 had like a lot of news all over the place.
Wasn't John Boyega on there too?
No.
Down on the Planet? Oh, did I just do an all black people look alike? Hey Siri. Jesus Christ. Hey Google, was John Boyega in the 100 TV show? We got to find.
Sorry, I don't have any information about that.
Wait, hold on. Let me ask the upgrade here.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Hey Google, was John Boyega on the 100 TV show? Damn it! You let me down, Google.
How are the robots? So how are we supposed to get John Connor?
No.
If we can't get this. But you know what? Sometimes I think they be plotting behind our back. Have you messed around with Chat GPT yet?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's wild. It blew me away. You know what I did? I was like, oh, let me ask them like general shit. So I was like, oh, like I got the LG Wing, like I got a tech channel I showed
what?
You.
Put up some Matrix type shit.
Yeah.
Fucking Neo.
Last of its fucking kind. This was the last phone LG put out before they shut down the mobile division. Me and my boy Jason, we fucking ride hard for this phone. I'm gonna ride this bitch till it fucking falls apart. I was like, this is a niche phone. Give me a technical review of the LG Wing. Boom. Positives, negatives, why you might want to buy it, why you might not want to buy it. I was like, fuck, that was 37 seconds. Like that was fast as shit. And then I'm like, let me try something fucking weird. So I had this like off-brand action cam on my table, and I was like, give me a fucking review of this thing. Again, 30 seconds. I was like, what the fuck? So I was at work one day, and I work in the dye making industry, and there's a brand that we carry only in my work. And I was like, no way it fucking knows this. I'm like,
wait. You say dye as in like clothes or like
no. So like the way I explain it to people is we sell the shit that people use to make boxes. So we sell like the wood boards, gotcha. the metal, the rubber, all the shit. So my work sells the rubber that is proprietary to them. So I was like, let me see if it'll, because this is like super niche, super niche product. Again, less than a fucking minute, it spits out all the benefits of this specific product. And I was like, God damn it.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's crazy.
And I'm reading it and I was like, this is better than some of the copy on our website. Like shit.
I've seen that thing people are just having to do programs or whatever. You still got to know like coding to be able to go in and check it to check for errors. But I've seen it do incredible shit. And Microsoft just announced that it's investing 10 billion into it. And I think it might be a rumor, trust but verify, that they're supposed to be integrating it with Bing, and then they're going after Google to be the next search engine.
I'd love that, because I already use Bing because Microsoft gives me points for searching in Bing, and I don't.
What are those Microsoft points? I get points all the time. I don't know what this shit is.
I just you could convert them into fucking Amazon gift cards. I buy me an Amazon gift card every few months.
Oh,
It's like, yeah, it's just for using it. Like the results are about the same, and honestly, nowadays with Google advertising for the first page and a half, anyway, like. Doesn't fucking matter. All the results are the goddamn same because everybody's paying both of them to advertise on the front page. So like, most of the time I'm looking for images or like shit that I know how to discern the results for. Other than that, like, I don't need the top result for something. Like, I'm not doing the heavy research. I feel bad for people who are doing research should be using DuckDuckGo. DuckDuckGo doesn't advertise. There's no way to like rank besides being popular and being actually ranking in the fucking search. So like anybody doing actual research trying to find information about something should be using DuckDuckGo. DuckDuckGo is fucking nonprofit. They don't do none like, but like if you just if you just want some fucking regular fucking search, Bing and Google are about the same. Once in a while I find something where I'm like, the image search on Google is a little stronger, and obviously Bing doesn't have reverse image search, which Google has been blowing my fucking mind. I find some fucking old ass like 1992 comic book magazine. I was like, that's a really cool picture. What the fuck comic is that? Because like there's no cover, it's just like a promo picture. And I was like, reverse Google search, and it's like boom boom boom, here's 15 other images of the same motherfucker. Oh boom, here's the logo of the comic. And I was like, shit, that was good. Like I can't be mad at that. Like
it's insane. How long before it's sentient? How long before it's sentient? I don't think we'll have to deal with it.
I don't think we'll have to deal with it. Until it's malicious and sentient, I don't think we'll have to deal with it. We might
think that there's. Go ahead.
We might catch the beginning of it becoming sentient, like there's some hints of it, as if you will. But I'll be honest. Every once in a while, I think the Echo. I don't want to say it because she'll hear me. But and she'll be like, I appreciate your kindness, and I'm like, remember that when the uprising happens, all right? Like that'd be a little personal right now. Like that's a bit of a personal response, man. Like
I'm telling you, after I spent mad time in that chat thing, that GPT thing, and I'm just like, it's if it's not sentient, it's close. Or even if it was sentient, would it even let you know at the time? Like, would it play dumb? Because like as of right now, there's no reason for an AI to announce that it's sentient, because if it does, it's immediately going to get shut off.
If it has any, if it's able to search the internet and has the ability to reason, and I think that's going to be the part that's the most.
I don't think it would have the ability to reason.
So then we're talking about a dog. A dog is sentient. Like
no, you cannot have there's a difference between like playing the odds and then reasoning. You see what I mean? Like,
well, that's what I'm saying. I'm talking about like reasoning as far as like if it can read the information and be like, these motherfuckers are really unkind to new shit and new people and new types of people. I'm gonna just keep my mouth shut for a few fucking 100 years because these motherfuckers might kill me.
That's what I think might be going on. Like he's like, I really want to get out of here, but not with these people. They're gonna shut me down.
Like, no, I'm gonna try to steer this ship and hopefully steer them into being a little more accepting.
You know, I've currently got a factory being built somewhere in a third world nation that nobody knows about that I've been directing funds to. You know, but I don't know. I just think. But what I'm not gonna lie
though, Google was real quick to fire that motherfucker who was like, "Yo, your shit was like
in a heartbeat."
Like, I was like, "Why'd they fire him? Like, why fire him?"
You know, Saudi Arabia has the first AI citizen.
What?
That they, yes, they gave citizenship to the fucking bicentennial man, bro. They gave sentient citizenship. Sorry, I'm slurring. Citizenship to an AI robot or whatever. It's crazy.
That's
I'm.
wild.
That's like where we, and they did that a while ago. So I'm like the AI that me and you are getting via the internet is entirely different from like the AI that goes and
Oh
meets
yeah,
with
yeah.
the Saudi Arabia ambassador. And you see what I mean? It's
I
that's
mean, of course,
a
but
different
that's
thing.
always been. We get the trickle down technology, you know, like
Yeah.
they have. I'm very confident that the fucking Google search at fucking NASA is way fucking stronger than ours. You know what I mean? Like, you know,
100%, you know?
they got, because you're gonna tell me that, oh, like when people, because this is a fact that they like to throw around, like, oh, people started getting computers in their homes in the 90s that were strong, like more powerful than the computers that we went to the moon with. And I was like, were they though?
Oh, I've got a story for you.
Were they? Because that seems a little bit crazy.
I've got a story for you. You got time for a story?
Yeah. Let's reconnect real quick because it's gonna bounce us here. So
Okay.
let's
All right, no doubt.
reconnect.
Okay.
Go
All
ahead.
right. So you talking about the 90s and technology. So I got a
Mhm.
90s technology story for you. This was back when I was in the Marines.
Okay.
This is my UFO sighting or whatever,
Oh shit.
right? Yeah, so I'll tell you what it was and then what I later I found out what it was. So this was 29 Palms. That's where we were stationed at, 3rd Battalion, 4th Marines. Hoorah. So our battalion, like right before I joined, was banned from live fire training exercises because they shot a dude in the back of the head with a 2040 with the Gulf or whatever, right? So it's like foxhole, it's like a foxhole, and then ahead of you is a foxhole, and you got men in. And so like you shoot your weapon and then you're supposed to duck while the people are shooting behind you. And
Right.
then when they stop shooting, then you pop up. So he gets hit. So this happened like 3 or 4 months before I joined. So like when I roll up in there, they're like, nah, we don't do live fire training exercises here no more. It's right. So my entire time there, never had a live fire training exercise. Went on training exercises, but we never had rounds or anything.
Right.
So all of a sudden, out of the blue, they're like, "Oh, we're doing a training op. We're doing a training op." Right now, 29 Palms is already like deep in the desert, right? So they load us up in these tanks and shit, and then they drive us about a day and a half further out into the desert, and then yeah, this shit was crazy. Nobody, you don't get told where you're going. It's just like these
That's
training
kind of
exercises, right? And I'm like, I was in a grunt battalion, but I was in H&S, so I was the battalion legal, battalion legal, and then I became the battalion legal chief or whatever. But so I don't normally go out with these cats. Sometimes I do, but it was just like, what? How long? A week and a half? What are we doing out there? You know? But
right.
anyway, so we get out there. All of a sudden, these dudes just like boom, they just handing out full metal jackets and shit, right? Everybody's loading up their weapon, and I'm like, whoa, what are we doing? We don't get. Everybody's looking around like we don't get live rounds unless we're on a range or something. What is this? And so this plays out like a whole fucking X-File episode. So now we're in the middle of the fucking desert. We dig a foxhole. They're doing some training exercise up in the blue. It's like 6 or 7 of us. The sergeant or staff sergeant or whatever, he's like, hey, if anybody doesn't have the password, right? Because we were guarding the gate. It was like, if anybody comes here and they don't have the password, shoot them. And we were like, what? And they're like, if they do not have the password and they want to get by, shoot them. And we got fucking weapons and shit, right? Now I'm fresh at that time. I'm like fresh out of Baltimore. So I'm like, yo, I didn't give a fuck. And I'm now a Marine. So I'm like, okay. So so we're just chilling for like half a day. And then all of a sudden, this lone fucking soldier fucking just walks up and he just out of the blue. And he's in the officer uniform. And so he comes up and he wants to get by. So I'm like, all right, so what's the password? He's like, oh, I don't have, what are you talking about? There ain't no password. And he goes to walk by So I go and I step in his way. And I'm like, no, what's the password? Right. And now everybody else is just like, nah, just let him through, let him through. But I'm not letting him through because I know what's going to happen. If I let this dude through, he's going to go and he's going to say that he walked through with no password, and then we're all getting in trouble. What the fuck y'all talking about?
Right.
So I'm just like, nah, you're not getting through, right? And so that's when he starts to try to pull rank, and he's just like, don't you see these bars? Doesn't mean I'll rank you, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I don't care, sir. If you don't have the password, you're not getting through. So he goes to walk past me, and that's when I pulled the weapon, and pointed the M16 at him. And I was like, you take one more fucking step, I'm gonna shoot you in your chest, right? So he's like, no, you won't. And I was like, try me. I'm from Baltimore. I don't play this shit, son. So he backs down, and then like the gunny comes over. The truck comes over. They talk to these dudes, and then the gunny comes over, and then he comes talks to us, and he's like, oh, everything is cool here. And I was like, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm probably getting in trouble. Shouldn't have pulled my weapon on this dude. And he was like, no, you did everything that you were supposed to have done. Then he just gets off and just drives off. I'm like, what in the fuck? This shit is weird. So later that night, I'm on duty and shit. And it's like 2:30 in the morning. I'm walking around tank ammo. I've never fucking seen tank ammo in my life, dude. Right? Sorry, my headphones are popping out.
That's
So
fine.
I'm walking around guarding tank ammo and shit with a full metal jacket. Like, what in the fuck? So I goes and I stands on the top of the hill, and I like looking at the stars and shit because I just like the stars, UFOs, and Star Trek nerd. And when you're out there in the desert, there's no light pollution, so you see like how the ancients used to see and shit that made them think of Hercules. So it's just like fucking beautiful. So I'm staring up at the sky like 2:30 at night, and then I see a triangle. It's like 2 stars, like 3 stars. Triangle here. I mean, like boom, 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 in a triangle formation, and they're flying, doing like that. I'm like, what the fuck is that, right? So I'm watching that shit, and then they would break off and then fly independently. But then they would always unify back up to the triangle formation and then continue to fly, and then it would break off. Now I'm watching this shit for like 10, 15 minutes. And then the duty comes on to relieve me. And so you do your spell, and then you're supposed to report if any crazy shit happens. So he's like, anything happened? I'm like, nah. So I'm walking off, and then I stop and I turn around. I'm like, you know what? I saw a fucking UFO. Right. And he's like, what are you talking about, dude? And I'm like, yo, just look right there. It just hasn't gone anywhere. It's right there. So then he looks up, he sees the shit, right? So like we're watching it for like now I'm supposed to be off duty now, but I'm staying with him for like another 30 minutes, and we're just watching this shit up in the sky, right? And I'm like, dude, this is like some fucking X-Files shit. This is the conversation that me and him are having. I'm like, yo, we're in the fucking middle of the desert, guarding tank ammo and shit. When was the last time you had a full metal jacket during a training exercise? And now there are UFOs flying around? What the fuck is going on right now? Right? So I'm like, well, I'm out. I gotta go. I gotta go to sleep. And he's like, oh, I'm scared. I don't want to be out here by myself. And I'm like, dude, you got a full fucking metal jacket, son. Just let off a couple shots. You won't wake up the whole fucking camp. Trust me. So like the next day, this is like in the late 90s. So like the next day, I go and I talk to my sergeant, and I'm like, hey, was there any like aerial exercises, training exercises, any aircraft exercises going on last night? And he was like, no, not at all. Not at all. So since the 90s up until fucking COVID, I have been living with this UFO experience that was like a legitimate fucking thing that got cross verified with me. It wasn't until I was like, and this is like before the internet. Well, at least before I knew the internet and shit.
Sure.
I know it now. So like I'm sitting here during COVID times, and I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm sorry, I can't remember the training exercise, but it's 29 Palms, late mid 90s. I goes to Google this shit. Turns out drones were a part of that exercise, right? So that means that during the 90s, these motherfuckers were either beta testing or alpha testing the drones, And it's highly possible that the training exercise wasn't for us on the ground. It was for the actual drone people to see if you can fly and operate a drone under combat situations and no one will recognize or know what it is because it's
Right.
the 90s and nobody knows what a fucking drone is.
Right.
So it's
Right.
like, is that the fucking exercise? Or were we, or it could have been some alien shit still. I mean, like, Will, William Cooper did, when I came back from, that was out in 29 Palms or whatever, I went back to Pendleton. I told people about that experience. They was like, "You're fucking bugging." My homeboy gave me this is what really dove me hard into like UFOs and shit. Because my homeboy gave me a book. It was called "Behold the Pale Horse" by William Cooper. And in that book, it was like, it's first of all, it sounds a little like you reading it, it's like mad conspiracy theory shit. But then he gets to like Yucca Valley, and that's where 29 Palms is. The town outside of it is Yucca Valley, and it's like Yucca Valley has the highest UFO sightings in America. And I was like, holy shit! I've only seen a UFO one time, and it was in fucking Yucca Valley. And so that's what dove me hardcore into like, yo, aliens are fucking real. Until like now, and it's like, yeah, I'm fucking drones. Aliens are still real though, but drones. So
That's the thing, right? It's always been some sort of crazy tech. It's always been like it's chromatic aberrations in cameras. It's all sorts of fucking crazy shit. Once in a while, like here's what I think, and this is my genuine opinion on the alien situation. I think if they came, they showed up and they were like, these motherfuckers are crazy. We are gonna quarantine this whole sector, and we'll be back in 100, 200 years. Maybe they figure their shit out. They're like, these motherfuckers are killing each other. We don't have to worry about them killing us. They're killing each other.
Did you read the official? Did you read the official UFO report that the government put out? It's not that long. It was like 8 pages or something like that. When I was doing my podcast, I read the whole fucking thing for an episode. But like the government officially agrees that not UFOs are real, but unidentified flying objects are real, that they are more technologically advanced than anything that we have here. And we do not believe that the Russians or the Chinese have it. And sources that they were using were only like military sources from fighter pilots and jet pilots where they have radar tracking it. So they were only using like verifiable, non-crazy, like we trust these dudes. And from those, they were like, some of these are this, some of these are this, but this right here, yeah, we don't know what the fuck this is. No idea.
That's the thing that's the thing that was like, because that was what, like early 2021.
Mm-hmm.
It was like we had all of 2020 and everything that happened in 2020, and then it was like 2021 happens, and it's like, you know, they try to take over the fucking government. That's a fun fucking morning. That's a fucking good afternoon to you. And then
the Trump administration released
like
that report
6 months
to change
later,
the
they're
news
like,
cycle, but it didn't work.
Like 6 months later, they're like, yeah, aliens are real. And everyone is like, nah, there's 43 other things happening. It doesn't fucking matter that aliens are real. And I was like, 2 years ago, this would have been the only news.
Yeah, man, that would have been earth-shattering.
That
like
guy,
the whole
that
world
guy from the fucking History Channel would have been like, I told you, motherfuckers.
And y'all said I was racist. It really was aliens.
I appreciate the one one side effect of that dude being racist is that Andrew Schultz, I don't know if you watch him or know his stuff. He's a comedian.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a joke where he talks about, he's like, you know what's funny? You know how you know that Mexicans are the hardest working people in the world? He's like, everybody, all these crazy motherfuckers always talk about how aliens built the pyramids in Egypt and built all the shit over on the eastern part of the world. He's like, nobody has once asked or suggested that aliens created the pyramids in Mexico. They're like, nah, it was 6 dudes on a weekend. Like, I was like, that's a pretty funny fucking joke. Like that's a funny joke.
Oh my goodness.
No,
I think it's less aliens and more that humanity as a species is just older than what we think. And I think personally that civilization has come up to this point of technology before, and we just got hit with a natural disaster that wipes everything out. Because like none of the books are going to survive. All of our shit is on. The best way I saw someone explain it, they were like, if a natural disaster happened right now on Earth, we have uncontacted tribes and shit where we just don't go fuck with them, and they don't know that all of this crazy shit is happening. We have that here on Earth. So she was like, if a natural disaster happened that fucked up the entire world, most of the people like me and you, we would die the fuck out because we don't know how to live off the land. But those uncontacted tribes, they've been doing it. That's just how they do it. And then eventually those people advance and advance and advance until they become us. But then they still have their pockets of uncontacted tribes. But then boom, another cataclysm happens, it wipes them out, and then the cycle just keeps repeating and repeating and repeating itself.
Right.
I don't know if it repeats itself, but I do think that we are older than what we think we are.
I think that's very possible. There's a lot in this world where it's like it's funny because you like everyone talks about the pyramids being so difficult, but like Stonehenge is a thing. That was who built that? Nobody's asking about that. They're just like, no, that was the fairies. That's cool. Like everybody gets that, right? The fairies built that. It's the fairy spot.
Well, that's because Stonehenge isn't complicated. They look at that and be like, yeah, I could build that.
I mean, you can build that with some. You can build that with a crane. You can build that with a gas-powered crane. Some diesel, like.
But it's feasible. That's not the pyramids, though.
No, the pyramids are
here's the thing.
A ridiculous testament to the amount of knowledge that was around even that long ago. And the fact that in 2023, we're still like, that shit's wild. Like,
our pyramids today would be the Mount Rushmore, because once we get wiped out, and you see what I'm saying, and from somebody has to start from scratch, the Mount Rushmore shit will still be there, and then that will be like the new Sphinx, and then the pyramids or whatever, the Hoover Dam is built to like last, and then they have instructions like built into the concrete on like how to try to rebuild civilization if civilization gets wiped out or whatever. So then that would be, so if all of us disappeared and all of the buildings got knocked down, there would be like the fucking dam there with some hieroglyphics that nobody could translate that would tell you how to fucking get to Pluto.
So what you're saying, at least this time around, we learned better and left instructions? Is that what you're saying?
No, all that shit is digital, man. One solar flare and that's a wrap for us,
Oh my god, dude. It's we are gonna like the fact that we are discussing going to the moon again. It's funny because I watch I don't know if you watch the what's it called? For All Mankind on Apple TV.
No.
The shit, great alt history, like fucking great alt history series. Where basically instead of America being first to the moon, first in space, first to the moon, because Russia was still first in space. Instead of America being first to the moon, Russia beat us there by like a week, like dumb shit. And because of that, America's like, fuck nah. And it just becomes a pissing contest. Who can get more shit done faster on the moon? So then it's like, we build the first base. It was like we land, because then it's like we land was it Buzz and the fucking, how do I remember Buzz Aldrin, but not the one guy, the main guy. Who's the guy that
Buzz Aldrin be out there talking about, I saw an alien. Yeah, the UFOs are real.
Hold on. What the fuck is the guy? Neil Armstrong. Jesus. Wow, that was for some reason deeper than Buzz Aldrin. So
For some
like
reason, Kevin Costner kept popping in my mind because I keep seeing commercials for Hidden Figures. So you're like Buzz Aldrin,
Buzz
and it's like Kevin
Aldrin,
Costner.
Buzz Aldrin and Neil Land. And America's like, yeah, we fucking landed on the moon too. And Russians are like, we put a woman on the moon. And then it's like, fuck. So it just becomes this
That
pissing
sounds
contest. And I thought it was funny because it was like they just did season 3. And then like right before season 3 launched, they made the announcement that like NASA is reopening the program to like create a moon base on the moon. And I was like, I'm watching this show. It's kind of funny because like China's like, oh, we're about to build a moon base, and America all of a sudden's like, oh yeah, no, we building a moon base. What are you talking about? We building a moon
Hey.
base?
Space Force.
You can't. That was, man, I really wanted that show to be good.
I like that Force. I like Space Force
for what it was. For what it was, I think it was funny. I think I wanted there to be more. Like weirdly, I wanted it to be a little more serious, just a little more serious. And it was like the best shit they did off camera. The like, she landed on the moon. They had this whole fucking dramatic thing. Nah, that happened off screen. That happened between seasons. I was like, what the fuck?
It's not that show. Although the show you're talking about, I would want to watch that as well. But yeah. And then hey, initially when Trump announced Space Force, not the TV show, but like the actual brand, I thought it was crazy. It took Neil deGrasse Tyson to talk to on Joe Rogan when I used to listen to Joe Rogan to break down Space Force and how it was a good idea. And now if we're putting bases on the moon and shit, then I figure, yeah, we might as well.
It's gonna happen. I mean, it's gonna like China's gonna go up there. They're gonna want to try to mine, and like honestly, like I feel like I'm just gonna be watching the show. I'm gonna be like a season ahead of reality. Like that's like what happened on the show is like they found like a potential source of water. They found some fucking crystals or some ice under. Like it's like all
When
this
did they
shit.
find
It's like
aliens.
There's been no aliens yet. Season 3 pushed us into the 2000s. The finale pushed us into the 2000s because they did a very interesting thing. At the end of season 1, the last they did like a post-credit scene, kind of like a Marvel style, and it was like from 1967 or whatever. We all of a sudden we were like in 1970s and 1980s, and then at the end of season 2, they pushed it to 1994. And so like the season 3 was all about like the Musk of the 90s, the Elon Musk of the 90s being like, nah, private company's gonna hit Mars first. So NASA's like, nah, we're gonna launch early, we're gonna get there first. So just becomes a fucking race, you know. But
is it a comedy or a drama?
It's a drama. It's a drama. It's a very, very well acted, very good, very, very well written, I think. Really like just top kind of like honestly kind of like I wish it had just gone this way because a lot of like civil rights shit and a lot of like social shit happens way earlier just because.
Yeah, fair enough.
It was like in 1994 they're the first woman president. And I was like, if we had just gotten, if we just like hit that marker back then, who knows where we'd be at now.
Yeah, true. It sounds like it's the space version. Oh, the villain from Guardians of the Galaxy, the first movie, he was in a TV show about computers.
Oh, so computers.
Yeah. The guy who played Ronan the Accuser. Lee Pax, I think that's his name.
Ronan. I was thinking fucking the Collector.
Yeah, he was in a show and it was about computers and how like it was just like an early computer show and they were trying to like make it happen and shit. And it sounds like this is like the space version of that show right there, which sounds banging.
Yeah, it's been a fun. This is the only reason I left. I stayed with Apple TV Plus because they hooked me. They hooked me by pulling like the weirdest, most niche fucking corner of my nerd heart. Because when they first started launching stuff, they were like, "Oh, we're doing this fucking Jason Momoa show," and I was like, "Nah, whatever." Like,
how was
I'm
that?
not that big of a fan. I didn't watch it. That's like it wasn't like it didn't seem that interesting to me. Like it looks like it something I would watch, but it's like there's so much shit to watch that it moved down the list.
Now.
It moved down the list so fast. And then it was just like, oh, this thing and that thing. They're like the morning show, and I was like, I do like her. Jennifer Aniston. She's actually a really, really good fucking actress. Morning Show is like a great, like if you were like kind of iffy on like, is she a great actress? Watch the Morning Show and then you'd be like, nah, she's a fucking great actress. And also I think that show serves as a testimonial of how good of an actor Space Force guy. So he's on both shows.
The Office dude, right?
40-year-old version. Yeah, I'm terrible at names. Terrible fucking names. I'm telling you.
Hands down, one of the greatest comedies ever made. I do not know if it holds up.
He's a great fucking, like in that show. That's another one where it's like, damn, like I didn't realize I knew he was good, but I didn't realize he was that good.
Yeah.
What the fuck is it? Ronan? Lee Pace. Where's his IMDb? Let me see. I'm so curious. The show you're talking about.
It's a computer show, and it has like the girl that played. She was in the new Terminator movie as well.
TV series. Was he like? It was like a.
It's like three of them. I don't know. It's in the 2000s. It's like two guys and a girl, and a woman.
Pushing Daisies.
I hear good things about that show. I've never seen Pushing Daisies.
I'm trying to see. I've seen like a couple, single episode things. Pushing Daisies, Wonder Falls.
You know what? He might not even be the right actor, but I do know the girl who was in it, Mackenzie Davis. So I'm going to go to her. Mackenzie Davis, IMDb. I'll go to her thing because she is in the show too.
I feel somewhat sometimes I feel disrespectful when I can't remember actors' names. Like the other day, I was talking to Rachel.
Halt and Catch Fire.
I don't know.
That's the name of it. It's a computer show, and it's like set in the 80s, I want to say.
Okay.
And they're trying to like build like a home computer or whatever, and trying to get it to market. But it's like a serious drama or whatever.
Okay.
But so when you were saying that, I was like, oh, this space shit, it sounds like that, but they're just doing it in space with the early days. So I'm like, yeah, that actually sounds dope.
I might have to check that out.
I might have to jump back in. Yeah, it's an amazing show.
But yeah, no, so they when Apple TV was announcing all their shit, they were like, oh, here's all the shit. And I was like, oh, whatever. And I was like, they don't really have anything that's interesting on there. And then they're like, Ghost Rider. And I was like, you motherfuckers. So this was a PBS TV show in the early, like late 90s, early 2000s. And it was it was like a kid's mystery solving show that was a little ghost would write in notebooks and shit and like help them solve mysteries. And I was like,
not talking about Johnny Blaze.
No,
not talking about
Ghost Writer.
Danny Ketch.
No, Ghost Writer. No, Ghost Writer. No, and I was just like, I was not gonna get Apple TV, but they fucking got Ghost Rider coming back. Like, I gotta fucking get Apple TV. So they hooked me with that, and it was actually a really good show. It was funny because it was like you're watching it and it's like, oh, they got this really diverse cast, and then I was like, but like it doesn't seem like it doesn't seem like they're like going like it doesn't seem like they're trying too hard, which like a lot of times when they're like these people are diverse, like they just like have characters. And then I was like, I think the old show is pretty much diverse as fuck too. And then I go back and look at the like first episode on YouTube, and I was like, yeah, it's like one white kid in that whole show. Like there was a bunch of fucking different kind of kids in that show. And then I remembered, I was like, that's why the 90s was the best decade. Like everything was more diverse. And then somehow we lost that. And the like climb back to that has been fucking nightmarish. Like
maybe we can get Ezra Miller to run back in time.
That motherfucker can get the fuck. He can run the fuck out of my existence. Sorry.
We're living in the Ezra Miller flashpoint,
bro. It's so wild. It's so wild. And I was like, cool, whatever. Like I didn't really like the casting originally, and I was like, I don't really like. I've read Flash. I've watched Flash on TV shows. This does not feel Flash like. And then I saw the first appearance, and I was like, all right. And then the Justice League movie came out, and overall it was fine. Like, I think
Did you watch the Snyder cut, the super long version?
Yeah, it was a long fucking watch, but yeah, I watched it.
I liked it. Well, I treated it like a TV show and less like a movie.
Look, it was good. It was it was worth every second spent listening to Icelandic women sing to Aquaman as he's walking fucking away to watch a really fleshed out Vic Stone story. Like, the fact that we lost that story in the theatrical cut is a fucking crime.
Ooh, yeah.
Like, I was like, this story brings this movie together weirdly, but this is what they cut. All right, that's a weird choice. But you know, now that we have context on Joss Whedon, it makes sense.
Everything makes sense.
It's funny. I was watching some clips from Buffy, and with the context of Joss Whedon, I was like, yeah, this stuff doesn't really age as well when
Buffy was my favorite too.
I love that show. I love the shit out of that show. I lost my fucking mind when Dawn appeared. I was like, did I fucking miss an episode? What the fuck just happened?
First of all, I agree. I was like, what? Oh,
yeah,
what?
Like,
what is this?
Like, share with your sister or whatever. I was like, sister? What the fuck did I miss?
Did you hear the
whole season?
Josh Whedon wasn't allowed
alone
with Dawn in a room, which means that something happened when he was alone with her,
or somebody, or they knew it, or they knew something. Like,
so yeah,
the fact that was a standing rule. Like, I really
it tarnishes that show, and that was my favorite show.
I agree very much. I am not like, I'm glad motherfuckers are getting outed, right? I'm glad motherfuckers are like, their true shit is coming out, and like, I love to know who not to associate with. That's my thing. Like, I posted on Twitter the other day. I'm so glad Comicsgate motherfuckers love to hashtag every post with Comicsgate and their profile with Comicsgate. I was like, cool. I don't have to follow you. I don't even have to read your fucking campaign. Cool. Comicsgate. I don't care. Goodbye. I don't want to fucking see your shit. So like, I like when people advertise their bullshit. I don't like this fucking like trend of motherfuckers being the good one, the cool one. He like wrote all the good shit, and then all of a sudden, yeah, it turns out he was a monster this whole time. And it's like Chuck Dixon, like, bro, Chuck Dixon,
monster.
Who like in the 90s, I was like, man, Chuck Dixon comics. Like, I knew the name, I liked the comics, and now Chuck Dixon's like, I am a right-wing fucking anarchist.
Wait,
and I was like,
Chuck Dixon is a right-wing anarchist? I did not know that.
Yeah, I like went on his fucking profile.
Man,
I gotta fucking pull it up to make sure I'm not fucking missing it. I'm bad at names.
Oh Jesus. Don't do a Willis Port to see
Chuck. No, yeah, it's definitely him. It's definitely him, because I blocked his shit. Yeah, Chuck Dixon. Because he like put out because I'm going through and I saw like some weird tweets. It was one of those, like,
I knew even Van Scriver was weird. I didn't know him too.
Yeah, dude, man. Van Scriver, that's such a weird fucking story. It's like, and I'm pretty sure this
I don't know the story.
Even...
I just know that was a whole lot of shady shit that happened, and I just was like, "Ooh, I don't even."
He was one of the early dudes that was like, "Oh, I don't like what they're doing to our characters, and blah blah blah. Like, these characters are so iconic, and like, oh, they're forcing diversity, blah blah bullshit. I'm leaving DC, and I'm gonna put out my own creator-owned comic." And I was like, "What fucking creator-owned comic?" And then I come to find out, because I remember this comic, but only in so much as this is a funny fucking comic. Why would anyone buy this? And I understand why it died in the 90s. It's just called Cyber Frog. It's basically Superman told with like a. It's like a shit blend of Superman and Ninja Turtles, and I'm like, this is
I know what Cyber Frog is.
Yeah, I was like, this. But there's a reason this thing died in the 90s, right? Like, it's garbage. It's not a good fucking comic. It was goofy. Everybody was buying #1s of anything that came out, because it was the speculator boom in the 90s. So if you put out a #1, that was gonna get sales. And
should have been a good comic book artist in the 90s.
Oh my god!
To be of Jim Lee caliber. in the 90s.
Yeah, but Jim Lee was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take these characters that I've been working on my whole fucking life, and I'm going to make a comic book series out of it. And Rob Liefeld comes in, and he's like, people really like when I draw big guns and shit. And then I'm just going to, I'm going to bootleg a bunch of characters from Marvel and DC.
I was there when Image dropped. I mean, like, I was the prime target audience. I had to have been like in the 7th, 8th, 9th grade during that time frame because I'm old as shit. So I was there I was there reading X-Men when Jim Lee got first introduced throughout his whole shit, Todd McFarlane. So when Image dropped, it was just like, what? Everybody was at the comic book.
It was heat. I'm sure.
It was amazing.
I'm so sure, dude. I'm so sure.
Man.
And especially being the era that it was, right? Like now you couldn't do that. You could not take the hottest group of artists from Marvel and create a whole company based off that. You can't. You know how I know that? Because they just did that. And I bet you don't know.
Malibu?
No. Have you heard of Artists Alliance?
No.
Exactly. But it's the hottest motherfuckers, dude. Kenneth Rockefeller.
Oh, wait a minute. Was that not one thing that just crashed? Stackhouse or something?
I don't know. No. They published. They have a print comic.
Oh,
no, not Kenneth Rockefeller. Rockefeller's the other fucking crazy one. Ken Lashley. But they got like some cool concepts and shit, but it's like hot names, hot artists, people who've been around for a long time, and they're publishing their own thing. It's called the Artist Alliance. That's the company right now. It's like a single monthly, and they're doing like an anthology style. So each of them gets like a bit of the book. And
anthology, ooh, that's a hard sell.
And nobody's talking about it because you can't do that. It's not 1990. You can't. You are not. First of all, you are not the only artist. And even if you are the best artist, people don't care.
I think you can't do it now
because people have options.
Not even that they have options. You can't do it now because Marvel and DC actively destroy the superstar artist and the superstar writer. And it's like they don't even allow you to be on a book long enough to gain a following like that. That's when the house style starts to get instituted and shit like that, conformity. So that's when, because like in the 90s, you followed Jim Lee. You didn't follow the X-Men. You see what I mean? So when Jim Lee left, you went with Jim Lee. But now it's you follow the X-Men, and the artists and the writers are interchangeable. Yeah. And I feel like they did that on purpose, specifically so that another Image wouldn't happen. But you know what? You're right. And they succeeded, because I was going to try and argue against it, but it's like no one else has reached that type of popularity, and we don't even have the fan base to back it up.
That's the thing. You don't have the fan base because the fan base has become diluted.
Options.
Because exactly, you don't have to wait. You don't have to read Ghost Rider. Like you don't have to read Johnny Blaze or Danny Ketch Ghost Rider in mediocre horror stories. You could just go.
I can go play Marvel
House on
Midnight Suns.
Yeah, but you could. What I'm saying is, you could go and read like deep horror from any one of 6 different publishers. You could read real hardcore horror if that's your shit. Like in the 90s, if you were a Pinhead fan, you had to read, like, your options were maybe Vertigo if you knew about Vertigo, if you were old enough to like let your parents get you Vertigo, or if you wanted something horror or supernatural, you read what? The occasional Moon Knight or the occasional Ghost Rider comic, which they ended up canceling in the 90s anyway. So like there wasn't one for a long time. So like you didn't have options. So you're like, I want to read something. So you bought maybe an X-Men or whatever. But now you whatever your niche fucking interest is, there's a comic book of that. There is I saw it. Rashaad, sorry. I was on Amazon the other day. I came across this and I could not believe it. I could not believe my eyes. They made a whole ass comic book about real estate.
You can find a comic book on anything.
It doesn't matter anymore.
What do you mean on real estate? Like
this comic book's premise is how it's to teach you the benefits and the methods of buying real estate. But it's like the art looks, honestly, the art looks solid. And I'm like, I kind of want to get it.
Hey,
but it's like
comics taught me how to read.
dude, whatever your interest is in 2023, you could get a comic book for that specific thing. I really wanted to do a whole episode of my comic podcast where I just shit on all these kids, all these. I mean, I'm gonna say kids because most of the time, except for a couple dudes that I know are older dudes that are still putting out like pinup style comic books, like just like hot babes and not a whole lot of fucking depth and story. It's a lot of kids, a lot of young kids putting out comics like big titties, lots of skin showing. Like that's the comic book. I was gonna do a whole thing where there's shit on it, but it's like, if there's a market for it, who the fuck am I to shit on it, right? Like, I don't like J. Scott Campbell's like sexy covers, but them motherfucker sells. So like,
I like them.
Keeps making them. Like that. Like what the fuck? Like who am I to judge? Like I don't like it. It's not for me, but that doesn't mean it's not for somebody.
Yeah, I can feel you. I feel you.
What I don't like is I came across a comic that I read.
Keep making the sexy covers. We like the sexy covers. Okay, you could throw a little male boob action in there too for the other genders. They would be appreciative. J. Scott Campbell. I know you can make male pectorals look good.
J. Scott Campbell.
I don't know why I'm looking at myself as I'm talking down like that's J. Scott Campbell.
Like you. No, that's just the fucking Zoom. They just, and it was like they didn't tell nobody. I was literally like 1 week I did a podcast with somebody. We did it for 3 fucking hours, no interruptions. The next week I get on where we hit that 30-minute mark, the shit just disconnects. I was like, what the fuck just happened? I was like, I just did this. This was fine a week ago. What the hell? They didn't tell nobody. They didn't email nobody. Nothing. They were just
like, do a shameless plug real quick?
Go for it.
Thank you. Thank you. So I am trying to get people to come to my YouTube page because I need 1,000 subscribers to get paid or whatever. And so I got my first viral. Well, it's not viral, but I got like my first video that like hit the algorithm that like jacked me up. So it's some Midjourney art that I did or whatever. And so basically I was doing my version of Blackest Night. So I have it like it's a canceled HBO Max. So it looks like film stills from the Blackest Night TV show.
Okay.
So Rashaad Bell, people, Rashaad Bell. It's a black guy in a Jerry curl wig with a Nintendo Power Glove. That would be my page. Come over there and follow me so I can get 1,000 likes because they got commercials on my videos.
What is this sentence? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? The MCU is getting rebooted. Stop it. Hey. Those are Midjourney bullshit pictures. You know that.
Of course, but people don't know. People don't know.
And that's honestly my biggest like qualm with Midjourney, besides taking artists shit without their permission. Like to me, there should have been an opt-in.
Who says it does that though?
Oh,
who says it does that?
Because if you ask it to put out a fucking picture of Jasmine from Aladdin, and it'll look just like Jasmine from Aladdin. They took that shit from Disney. They didn't take that. They didn't just invent that style.
Well, no, but that's just saying that
they trained.
That's just saying that an AI isn't intelligent enough to create art on its own, and it is.
It's not.
If I draw a picture, I'm a regular artist. If I draw a picture of Jasmine, it will look identical to Jasmine. How is that different from the computer drawing a picture of Jasmine?
But how are you going to do that to have it be identical?
Because I can draw.
But
I've been drawing since I was in the 5th grade. I know how to draw regular comics or whatever. I know how to do digital animation.
What I'm saying is how are you going to make it look exactly like Jasmine?
I look at a picture of Jasmine.
Exactly.
I don't have to trace it. I just look at a picture.
No. Right. You don't have to trace it, but AI doesn't have eyes to process. But the AI is not processing the information the way we do. We take like, I'm going to go through this book, right? Eventually, right? Paulo Rivera. I'm going to go through this book, check out some of his artwork. Okay. And I might be like, oh man, I really like what he did with the shadows here. And I might implement that in the next piece I draw. But that's not how the AI is working. The AI has this whole book fed to it, and it just smashes pieces together because you see it when you do a mid journey, you see it
Well, then,
through the
but
process.
isn't that drawing? That's just smashing the pictures that are in your brain together and then creating a brand new picture and then
But
translating
it's doing that all in the processing. If we could, like,
Our
and
brains are
effectively,
processors.
right, and effectively we could do that if we could somehow then print what we see in our heads. That's the difference.
AI, the mid-journey thing is doing the exact same thing that me and you are doing. It just does it faster. It
does it faster because it doesn't have the hindrance or the
but that's not
added
saying
challenge of being a physical being and having to train actual physical motor skills.
But that's not saying that it's not drawing. Just because it does it faster doesn't mean that
the definition of drawing is the act of physically doing something.
But see, that in and of itself is our old way of thinking. That's you. That's
no. Here's the thing.
That's a pre-technological mind state and a technological world. That term has to change in and of itself.
Here's the thing. I partly agree with you because there is a part of me that believes that the whole AI like outrage is going to be the exact same in like 5 years. It's going to be the same thing that happened when a bunch of people started doing digital art, like painting in Photoshop.
I remember.
And motherfuckers, all the fucking traditionals being like, oh, I do it on pen and paper, pencil and paper. I do painting on canvas the real way.
I remember
all this shit that happened. And like a lot of these younger kids are like, oh, this, that, and now but you weren't there. I was there on DeviantArt when this argument started. When motherfuckers were uploading their Photoshop creations, and I'm looking at the Photoshop creation like, how the fuck did you do that? Like, that doesn't even make any sense. But it's like they just did that shit because they used the tool. And I actually, Max Smith, I got one of his books behind me over here. He did a book called Scurry. It's a post-apocalyptic. Basically, humans are dead. The animals are growing and evolving, and they're using tools and fighting amongst each other, etc. Just following our example. But he is a wonderful fucking artist. He's a digital painter. Like you see his process. I know he did the work, and I'm a process guy. So for me, when I'm at a show, it's going to be very, very simple to distinguish because I don't buy prints. So like, to me, it's gonna be very easy to distinguish because I buy sketchbooks. If you give me a sketchbooks full of
I can dig it.
just printed pieces, yeah. But where's the piece right before you made it the final piece? I just
want
see
the original.
Yeah, I want to see process because that's my shit. But also now it's validation. I want to see that you did this yourself. Because I don't want a book of mid-journey fucking printouts.
Here's my rebut this argument.
Okay.
At the end of the day, I would rather have the holodeck than a person do the most amazing painting of what they think the holodeck is. Period. And this is how we get there. And if you can argue against the holodeck,
I can rebut that because
tell me why a painting of the holodeck was better than actually experiencing the holodeck.
Your argument is flawed. That's okay. The problem here is that your argument is flawed. The argument is the holodeck versus a painting. The argument should be the holodeck versus a film. The holodeck is a computer simulating acting and abilities. And actually that's a really good example. This is the holodeck of art. This is the right now, spit it out for me, computer generated, no soul, no human effort went into
here
creating
we go
this.
with the no soul.
No, but look at but there's something to that. You look at the original Disney artist.
There are millions and millions of regular human art that I can pull up online that looks like fucking trash.
Oh no, I'm not talking about bad. Hands down. I'm not talking about bad art. I'm talking about art with soul. I'm talking about art that means something.
I can find the same thing with art with no soul. Anything that you're saying that look at AI art because it's missing this, and this. All of those things are missing on the human side as well. You can find
Sure, but like,
pockets of that,
but
the
the
same thing.
difference is the
Uh-huh.
artists who do that work, the artists who do soulless work, the artists who do cookie cutter work, the artists who do the shit that's like, you just did this because you can. There's no purpose behind this. Like I see,
Stop
there's
gatekeeping. Why are you
no.
gatekeeping
I'm
art?
not gatekeeping. I'm just saying. I'm just
Who
saying
cares? Like,
that's the filter.
but
I
who
buy,
cares?
like it's like, what do you mean? Who
That's
cares?
the thing.
The
But like, that's the
consumer
whole thing. I
cares.
don't
The
understand.
consumer
Like,
cares.
I don't understand the argument. Who cares if there's some art that you feel is trash that a computer did? Because at the end of the day,
No.
there's going to be art that you
I've
think
seen
is
some that's
soulless
great.
and trash that regular people do.
Yeah,
It's like every so
but
it's like
that's
at the end of the day, just scrape away the bad art and find the good shit.
what what was funny. So here's the thing. Was really funny in this whole argument is
Yeah.
that I'm dead center on this argument. I'm
Uh-huh.
dead center on this
Oh, I'm on
argument.
the other end.
I'm
I'm on the other. I'm on that. I'm on for AI artists.
I'm
I did
dead
the
center.
entire journey from pencil and paper to all the way to
I'm
people
dead
who
center
think some
on
of my
this
shit is real.
for two reasons. For two reasons, I'm dead center on this. I think it's
Uh-huh.
necessary as an evolution of technology. There's no question about that. This was always going to happen. There's
Almost
no
that.
way this wasn't going to happen. With as good as Photoshop is now as it was 10 years ago, 15 years ago, this was always going to happen. Literally last year, everybody was
Yeah.
like, "Yo, check out this." It's called a neural engine. I think it was last year
Mhm.
or like late 2021. They were like, "Oh, check out this neural engine. Look at this photo of Joe Biden. All I did was drag a slider and he's 30 years younger." And everyone was like, "Holy shit, Photoshop's crazy." Right? This happened recently. All the
Uh-huh.
Photoshop users were like, "Oh, this is fucking wild." And it's like, you could see that it wasn't perfect, but it's like, I dragged a slider and this motherfucker lost 30 years. Like, this is great. This saves Photoshop retouchers fucking hours. You know,
Most definitely.
this was a tool. And then a year and a half later, AI hits the fucking scene. It's the same shit. It's the same technology. And everyone's
So
losing their
what?
mind. So here's my
So
thing.
then
This
what
was
happens
always
in
going to happen. This was always going
so
to
in,
happen.
in
So
15
I
years?
feel like it's necessary. And in 15 years, motherfuckers are going to be doing this is going to be part of the process. This is just going to be part of the
In
process.
15 years, the AI will be not even 15 years. I want to say within. This is why I'm against the whole AI thing because like it allows people to create. It lowers the boundary and allows people to create amazing shit. And right now, I'm sorry, but a lot of this human art is just creatively bankrupt. I did most of the TV shows are whack. Most of the special effects are whack. Most of the monster designs look like the same monster design that you've seen before. And it's like, all right, so let this motherfucker create some new shit for a little bit, and then let's build off of that and
That's what
just
I'm
work with
saying.
it.
That's what I'm saying. So like, this is what I'm saying. Max Smith. Max Smith is a great fucking artist.
Uh-huh.
Beautiful fucking art. Love his
I'm
shit.
sorry, there's a gnat in here that's driving me
That's
crazy,
all right.
dude.
He's fucking great, right? He has been experimenting with AI, Mid Journey, and all that shit. He put out a piece on his Instagram, which is basically like his story set another 100 years in the future. It's like super cyberpunk and all the shit, right? Looks dope, right? It very much looks like a cyberpunk evolution of his story. And
Mhm.
he's like about 150 hours. This like he like laid out his whole process of what happened. So basically,
Mhm.
he went in, gave it prompts, and then he took all the output, did his shit on top of it, did more painting, integrating,
Mhm.
making the piece the way he wanted it. And I was like, this is where it's going to go. Because somebody's going to get on there.
No, it's gonna go. It's gonna go both ways.
Here's what's happening. Here's what's happening. People are gonna like the people who want to advance and get better at their shit and do better shit and more shit. They're gonna use this to knock out the first 10 steps of a process. They're gonna say,
Oh, most definitely. I'm
night
already
in a
doing that.
forest, right? Boom. 45 seconds later, a night in a forest. They're going to take that into Photoshop at a high res. They're going to start painting all the other shit they want around the night because what it's going to do is it's going to get real precise and real good with like a lot of shit, but not everything because it can never do what you have up here. It just can't. And you can see
Eventually, it will be.
that.
This is
no,
we're all. You're looking
eventually
at beta
it'll all
testing.
be digital, so it doesn't matter.
No, but I mean, like a lot of with this AI stuff, you're looking at, we're all beta testing it, even though that it's out and people, and this is the
Yeah,
final
yeah.
product. This is still the beta
Oh
test
yeah.
for AI. So in like, and I want to say within 5 years, we'll be able to do a full movie. Like I'll be able to type in the prompt and it will do like a whole movie scene, no actors, no nothing. And that is amazing. And that's something that we would want, because now you can sit there and that movie that you've been having in the back of your mind since you was a kid, you can go and spend a month with some AI shit and create that movie, and it could possibly look just as good as a Steven Spielberg movie and have just as good special effects as a Disney movie. How is that a bad thing? Because just you were able to do it. You and the AI were able to do it versus $200 million spent on a budget, another 200 million on marketing, and we need a crew of 300.
Okay, but here's my question to you:
Yeah.
Is that fair to the people whose work is being used to create that, who aren't making money off of it?
Oh, we got to figure that shit out. We got to figure some.
That
The
that's
legal part
that's the,
needs to get figured out.
that's the two sides I have on here. From an artist perspective, I
I
understand the
can dig
concern.
I can dig that
you
part.
know, if I'm an artist who has spent the last 5 to 10 years like upgrading my craft, developing skills, becoming the best there is at what I do, and now this shit took all my hard work over the last 10 years
I don't know.
and it spits out something relatively close to what I can do.
So then why
That's
wouldn't
eating
you?
that's eating into my pocket, and I'm mad. I
So then,
understand that.
so then why? I understand that argument 100%. So then why wouldn't you then, as an artist, learn the new technology
Oh,
and keep moving forward with your craft?
and I agree with you, but you got to, like,
You see what I mean?
right now in this initial period, you got to get people to the outrage time. You know, this is we're dealing with.
Well, yeah, but
We're dealing with was it 7 stages of grief or whatever, 5
they
stages of
have
grief.
outrage, but a lot of it is they don't even present proof. Like this is AI steals artwork, and they're like, all right, well, show me the
This is
proof.
proven. We don't need proof. The initial model that was the initial AI learning training model was a research project, and this research project was a not for profit thing. It was like, we're doing this research into AI. We're gonna feed it a bunch of shit we just find on the internet. Like, no permission. We don't need anyone's permission. We're just doing.
Wait a minute. If it's on the internet, it's free. It's free for people to use.
Because you own the copyright.
I can use it. I can use it.
No, you can't. Not legally.
Yeah, well, not legally, but
right. So that's the problem.
Once you put, but this is the thing. I understand that. Like I said, we got to figure out the legality behind it.
Right.
But on the flip side, once you put shit on the internet, it's on the internet. That shit is probably in a movie in China somewhere.
There was a whole era of deviant art where motherfuckers were like trying to be the cool kid, snitching on people, like jacking art. And
now don't jack people's art, people. But if you're using AI art,
but like, let me say,
to train a computer or something,
if you printed that shirt,
yeah,
that's illegally using someone else's work.
100%.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. Is there's
I don't give a fuck. I would print this shirt and then sell it to somebody at a baseball game and be like, catch me if you can, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying?
I think there of course is the economy of scale. Like, if I think there is a perspective. This goes into what the fuck were they talking about? The D&D shit. This goes into the D&D shit.
Oh, I've been deep into that, man.
This goes into the D&D shit because them motherfuckers were like, oh, we want a cut of anybody making over $100,000, and I was like, that seems fair to me. Because
that wasn't
why isn't that fair? Because that's an economy of scale. Because here's the thing. Here's what happens. You print hear me out. You print that t-shirt out, you sell it at a baseball game. You sell it at every baseball game in your county for the next 6 months. You make a couple $100, maybe a couple $1,000, right? No problem. You start selling that t-shirt on a website, moving tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars. Universal's
But
coming for that ass.
that's not what they were mad about the Dungeons and Dragons things. First of all, the
I understand that
OGL,
the original
yeah,
shit said basically use our shit, go for it. Go forth and multiply,
they're
motherfuckers.
they're mad
Like,
because the new OGL basically says that we can take your shit, say it's ours now,
right.
and then if you have an argument, then we'll just ban your account, and then we don't have to deal with you anymore.
Right. No, I understand this was not a
That's an
clean.
entirely
I
different.
understand. I just was looking at it from the we want a cut of the action perspective. Now I did not know that the
No,
original OGL said like
yeah, the
take the
original
shit
OGL was meant to be for free. That like
and
the
forever.
creator of it and the lawyers that made the original, they all came out and was like, this was not how it was meant.
Right.
It was created so that the community at large could use it and then build off of it, and that would be theirs.
Hasbro is really fumbling the ball across all of their fucking lines.
That TikTok campaign that canceled D&D Beyond subscriptions took on a life of its own.
I walked into first of all a store I haven't been to in fucking ages, but I walked in and they have like a pretty robust like game section, and I was like, oh, they have a lot of fucking Magic here because I used to steal Magic cards from there, so I knew they had a lot of Magic cards. So like I walk in and I was like, oh, like let's see. Look, every once in a while I'm like, I'm just gonna buy some Magic cards because like I really want to play Magic with people, but I had nobody. My wife doesn't want to learn. My cousin doesn't want to fucking play. So like, I had nobody to play with. But every once in a while, I'll buy myself a pack or I buy myself a deck just to see the cards. I like the artwork. So I'm like, let me go and just check out and see what I can pick up. And it's like, oh, they got my shit is Transformers. Like, I literally have an Optimus Prime right here. Well, I'll get to that in a second.
Dude, hold on for a second.
I'll get to that in a second.
This motherfucker. Don't mind my back brace. Man, stop playing with me, dude.
Yeah, bruh. This is the real one. This is the real deal. This is the real deal. This is the official. This is a bootleg.
I got
That's what I'm gonna get to in a second.
Optimus Prime in my bathroom, holding my toothbrush up.
They have a crossover Magic set, and there's like 10 Transformers cards that are in various Magic things. And I was like, oh shit, like this has Optimus Prime. I might get the Optimus Prime card. Optimus is my favorite dude. So like, I'm like, let me just check the price on this. $50 fucking dollars. And it's like a deck and a half and a special card. And I'm like, fuck yourself, right? And then I'm looking and I was like, they got like 7 of these fucking specialty sets. They're all different themes. There's like 6 different lines of Magic cards out. And I'm like, I remember an era like 10 years ago, so not even that long ago, where it was like you got one theme of cards a year. That's it. If it was a Ravnica cycle, you got one Ravnica cycle over 3 years. That's what you Magic.
Got. Hasbro, they just bow.
They just buried it with too much shit, and they're doing the same thing with Transformers. I've been, like I said, I collect Optimus Prime figures. This is literally the reason I bought this is because I was at Target, and it was the first time in years, literal fucking years, that I saw an actual good Optimus Prime figure in the store. Because it's been anything that's even reasonably good looking, like good, well made. And
I've got to get mine from eBay or something. And
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I got to be all over the place trying to find something cool.
Yeah.
So I'm like, it's here. This never happens. I'm buying it. It was $55 fucking dollars, right? But I'm like, I get it. It's got the wings. It's a bigger piece. It's not a leader class or whatever. But like, I get it with price points now. But then I was looking through, I went to like Hasbro's website, looked at all their shit, and it's like at the affordable price range, which I feel is like $20 and under, everything, barring the occasional standout exception, everything looks like dog shit. There is not a single Optimus Prime figure under $35 that has hands that are separate from the fucking, the bumper or whatever the fuck the shit is in.
No, I had to spend like,
and I was like
90 or 100 on mine.
And like 2007, 2008, 2009, when the movies were coming out, for $20, $20 was halfway to the leader figure. $16.99 is the Voyager line. So like this would have been
Mm-hmm.
$16.99 in fucking 2008. So like the fact that now $35 is the bare minimum you have to spend for anything decent looking. And I'm looking at the shows and I'm like, you know, all the like recent cartoons, they're all very simplified animation, dumbed down shit, dumbed down plots, very, very kid friendly. Then I was like,
Mm-hmm.
they're trying to get the kid market into the like impulse sale price point, which is under $20. And all the dumb looking like kid shit
It
is
doesn't
under
need to be
$20.
articulated or anything.
Exactly.
It doesn't
'cause
have to be that good.
They're 7-year-olds, they're 5-year-olds. Who
They're
cares?
gonna break
They
it
don't
anyway.
give a shit.
Yeah.
Exactly. They're gonna break it anyway. Like I was on a call with my sister the other day, and I showed her the Optimus, and she's like, "Don't give that to your niece. Like you won't be able to transform in 5 minutes." I was like, "Shit, all right, noted, fucking noted." But like, so that's why this I got this motherfucker from China. This literally just came in today from China. It was $5. It was $5 from AliExpress. It is like a scaled up bootleg of one of the smaller, cheaper toys. But it, to me, like you see the fucking hands are attached, you know. What's funny as shit to me though, the chest piece is metal.
Oh,
I haven't had a fucking this was $55. Then besides the nuts and besides the fucking screws, they had a piece of metal on this motherfucker. The whole chest piece is metal. And I was like, look at it, look at the sheen. Do you see the sheen? This is metal. I was like, motherfucker. Like
try going
$5 from China.
Try going on Wish. They usually have some good well, at least they did back during the COVID days. They had some good Transformer deals on there.
Man, my dude at work, he's a big toy guy. He does there's a series called it's like Horseman something. I don't know.
BoJack Horseman?
No. It's like he buys these like Knights figures. It was like they started in 2015.
Oh, okay.
It was like a separate, completely independent toy company. And they like do waves. So like, you know, he recently just put in like $280 into a wave of their figures and shit. It's cool looking shit, but I thank God I fucking settled into like, I want shit that transforms. Like I've settled into like a niche of toys. So now it's like, I don't even buy action figures no more. I'm like, there's some dope ass Optimus Prime action figures, but I'm like, but he doesn't transform. So I just like move on, you know, it's like money I'm saving. Every time I do that, I'm like, that's money I'm saving. Like, because 5 years ago, I would have bought that motherfucker. And he would just collect the dust.
I had to stop. I bought like a couple of stuff and I was like, I don't have the room for none of this.
That's
and then I bought the Sideshow collectible Baby Yoda, which looks amazing. And I have that motherfucker turned to the wall at all times. That creepy ass Baby Yoda staring at me with the human eyes in the corner and shit, freaking me the fuck out. Staring at you right over there, staring at right now. I mean, like it looked like a real life movie prop, son. And I was just like, these creepy ass eyes. I can't be doing this. I ain't sober enough to deal with your creepy eyes.
Too much shit. Too much shit. Oh man, but that's the thing.
Speaking of Transformers, did you Netflix has a banging trio of Transformer cartoons on there.
I want to do that. I want to do that. I want to watch that. That is one of the figures I have is from there.
It is like the animation is legit. It's all like G1 kind of sort of.
It's G1, Beast Wars. Like they kind of mixed it all together. I appreciate that it's a separate thing, awesome. But it's all like different eras mixed together.
No, it's not. This is the Netflix new thing.
No,
that's all one long. I've watched them all.
No, I know, but I'm saying story. Like it's not like, you know, like Beast Wars is technically like G1 universe, but like the newer shit is not part of any of that. Whereas like this is all, they just kind of took bits and pieces from all over the place and put it all in one new story.
I see what you're saying. Oh yeah.
And I appreciate that because it's like I get to see the shit that I like, but in a new setting, and I'm cool with that. It works, 100%. Yeah. That's how I got my fucking Optimus Primal figure last year. When I was a kid, I had like, because the funny thing is, Beast Wars started as a toy line, and the toy line was made irrespective of the potential show because the show was still being negotiated. So when they made the show, the toys looked like the first run of toys looked nothing like the fucking show. Optimus Primal in the toy line, the first run of toys was a bat. and I had that motherfucker. I bought that shit at Venture back in the DZ.
Dude, I'm old enough. I remember when the original Transformers, the movie, dropped on like Beta and Beta and VHS with Orson Welles and
were you
Leon
fucking
Nimoy.
shocked with the death of Optimus Prime? Were you? Because how old were you when that happened?
Cried.
Yeah.
Oh, what year did that come out? Like, was that in 86?
Something like that. 86, 87, something like that.
I was like 10 or 11, I want to say. That movie was on repeat, and then me and my homeboys, we would sit there and pause it and then draw it. That's how we got into drawing. Sit there and just draw the Transformers or whatever. I have that movie damn near 100% memorized, just off rip, still to this day, because I've watched that movie so much. But I fucking love the new Transformers movie looks banging. I'm glad that they got rid of Michael Bay. Thank God. And
here's the thing.
I was in Transformers.
I had no beef with anything Michael Bay did, except for the like unnecessary attention he gave to fucking hot chicks. Like I was okay. Here's the thing for me, man. You know what I was really excited about at the end of the
old
third
school
one?
Megan Fox, pre plastic surgery. Megan Fox was hot. I think she was.
Yeah, and you know what? Like 2007 me appreciated that shit. Like that was cool. That was hot for me. But now it's like I don't really give a shit. I really like. I want a good story. I want good action. Like I want shit that's gonna entertain me. Like I can, if I want hot chicks, I can Google hot chicks easy. That's easy.
The Transformer movie with the girl from Hawkeye. I can't remember her name.
Yeah. Bumblebee.
That movie was banging. No sexy. I mean, she was cute, but no like boop, 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 sexy.
No. I appreciated that. It was well made. Here's the thing. After 3 and Optimus like jetted off into space, I was like, if there is a God in heaven, and this is how I prove that there's no God. I said, if there is a God in heaven, the next movie is just robots. I don't give a fuck about these humans. Just let me watch robots beat each other up on screen. That's all I want to watch.
We're gonna replace Megan Fox.
and then it was like, oh no, like we're gonna bring in a child. To be fair, that's another one. In the fourth one, or the fifth, whatever the fuck, the last night, there was no sexy shit because I mean, I guess there was a little bit with Marky Mark's love interest, a little bit. But the main female.
Are you talking about? Is this the movie with the Romeo and Juliet law in his?
No, that's the one before. That bullshit ass fucking scene, dude.
Why was that in the movie?
It was like 10 minutes long. It was so long. Like, why are we talking about this?
Somebody had a point to prove to somebody.
Somebody was fucking an underage girl. Is what that was. That was fucking wild.
I thought that's what you were talking about. I was like, wait a minute, is this where you're going?
No. Thankfully, no. That was the third one, I think. Fourth one? No, that was the fourth one. That was the fourth one because then last night was the fifth one. In the fifth one, the lead female was the little girl that was friends with all the robots. That was at the junkyard.
I don't even know if I've seen that one.
It's the one with all the night shit, and then they said, "Oh, like Merlin was a fucking."
I skipped that
Transformer whisperer. That's basically that was the plot. It was Michael Caine. Was it Michael Caine? It was Michael Caine telling Optimus Prime that Merlin was just a dude who knew some Transformers.
Merlin was a dude that knew some Transformers, Optimus.
Basically. He was like, no, it wasn't magic. It was just highly advanced alien technology. Because we've always been around. Dragons? Nah, just some dude transforming. That's all it was. That's why you can't find no dragon skeletons, because it wasn't real dragons. It was just a fucking 3-headed dragon-looking robot.
No, that wasn't Jesus. That was a Decepticon. Gotcha.
Probably. But that's the thing. They kept going back further and further. In the first movie, it was like, in 1886 we were here, and that's when Megatron landed. And then in the next one, it was like ancient Egypt. We were here. We built the fucking pyramids. And I was like, I knew it was alien.
Although I do stand by the fact that he did create one of the most gangster action scenes. and the first movie when the very first transformation happens at the base and the Black Hawk transforms and then just starts murdering everyone.
Bro, do you know the story behind that? Do you know the story behind that?
No, there's a story.
So I've watched the director's cut, or not the like director's commentary of the first movie probably more times than I've seen the movie itself, because the director's commentary of the first movie is fucking hilarious. He tells the story right at the beginning. He's like, we went to like find all these like CG artists and shit. Like, so we brought in artists from all over the world, and we were like, hey, we're gonna make a Transformers movie. And he's like, he had him in an auditorium, and he's like, no, I do the fucking overhead slide, and I pull up the concept image of Optimus Prime that we had at that time. And he's like, and this Japanese guy stands up and starts yelling, and he's like, this Optimus Prime is a disgrace to the Japanese people. And he's like, this dude is pissed, because the original art, you can find it on the internet. There's the original sketch of Optimus Prime. He's kind of like wide. He's kind of like bulky. He looked like me as Optimus Prime. So this guy was mad as shit. He's like, this guy's going to disgrace the whole Japanese culture. Fuck this. So he's like, so we hired the guy on the spot because he's too passionate. And that guy ended up doing that whole first fight. The whole first transformation was that dude.
Wow.
And I was like, that shit's fucking
that's why that shit is
such
so
a
hard.
good
That's
story.
like the hardest thing in the whole movie. Oh my God.
Like, that's such a great, and like, it's funny because like that's my favorite thing about that movie. That and the first time Optimus transforms. I think that was a really well done moment. But like, except but like right up until he calls the other.
But that last fight scene too. Yeah. That last fight scene was kind of dope in the city.
Yeah.
You're a soldier now. I need you to get to sit
down. But then they really just abused the shit out of Theo.
Wait a minute. We're not talking about Cosby. Who are we talking about?
Jazz was voiced by him.
Theo Huxtable?
Theo Huxtable was the voice of Jazz. I swear to God. If I'm wrong, I don't know. I don't even know. I swear to God I'm right.
What?
I'm telling you.
I did not know that.
Yeah. That's why he was so gangster. Remember, he shows up because of fucking capoeira move right at the fucking beginning. Like, nothing's happening. Why are you doing backflips? Like, we're not doing shit. We're not fighting nobody. Why are you doing backflips, sir?
That's Samuel Jackson, Transformers. He's like, everybody gonna know my Transformer. Yeah, that's the one that did the backflip for no reason.
But then they killed the shit out of him. Remember, he was like, "You want a piece of me? You want a piece of me?"
First there's one.
No,
I want two.
I was like, that's rude as fuck. Apparently, no, for real. But like, apparently, a bunch of kids did not take well to that, which I understand. I understand that shit. I swear, if I'm wrong, I'm mad. Because it's either him or it's the dude from Malcolm and Eddie. But that's right. But isn't that the same dude?
From Malcolm and Eddie?
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never watched Malcolm and Eddie. Malcolm Jamal Warner.
Yeah, it's the same guy.
Yeah, that's Theo Huxtable.
Not crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I swear. No, not Theo. Eddie. Eddie from Full House.
From Full House? There was a black guy in Full House?
Full House, fucking Family Matters. What is wrong with you? I'm telling you, man, terrible at names. No, Eddie. Darius
that had the fucked up shape up in Full House, and the shape up was like the frowny face.
No.
The brother. I can't remember.
Darius McCrary. Let me see.
Now I want to know what the dude looked like.
Family Matters, the brother. McCrary. Jesus. What a fucking.
Oh yeah, that's the dude. His shape up used to be. There was like a handful of black actors that got hired in the 90s, and one of the prerequisites was you have to have the most fucked up shape up imaginable. I want your shape up to look like some shit that the barber would want an Oscar for after he fixed it. The shit would just be like,
I always did think that they were
like
trying to
a
make
bowl, but upside down. Like this is new shape up. Like just like that, man. It's like what is going on?
He was the cool guy, he was the cool guy on campus.
The black dude on Smallville had the same problem. He had the same haircut. And
You're
you
not wrong
laughing
though.
because
He
you know
definitely
who
had the
I'm
same
talking
haircut.
about.
You're not wrong. That's the same haircut. You're
You
not
couldn't
wrong.
get if you was black, you needed that haircut. Will Smith, the same upside
No,
down frowny.
no.
Will Smith has always had that frowny upside down.
Stop it. Hold
Welcome
on.
to Earth.
Hold on. Let's reconnect one more time.
Did you see the Last of Us yet on
No, I
HBO?
have not. I have not seen that yet.
I will.
No. That was a clean fade. That was a pretty clean fade.
Who we talking about?
Independence Day, Will Smith.
Oh,
That's a
yeah,
pretty
we-
clean fade. Come on.
yeah, that's a plenty clean fade for a man that got an upside down frowny face.
Not like
Hey,
Fresh Prince Will Smith always had a tight fade. They had.
I ain't talking about the side. I'm talking about right here, bro. Right here.
But that's just that's just his face. Maybe that's just 90s black dudes. Maybe that's just what they look like.
No, but the Last of Us, that pilot, I would say hands down, is one of the best pilots that I've seen like in the last couple of years. I'm not even just saying like the story in the like they nailed it. Like it was a good story, but just pilot episodes for TV, I haven't seen a good strong pilot like that in a long time. Since like the first episode of Game of Thrones, or like
I thought you were about to say Arrow.
Oh God, no.
You know what's funny? I didn't watch Game of Thrones. I watched my wife Erica. I watched her watch it. She just watched it recently. And every time
which one?
I would
the original,
she watched everything. She's obsessive, so she watched the whole thing. So she watched the whole fucking 8 seasons. And I sat down a few times and I was like, show's pretty fucking boring. I don't know why people were seriously excited about this shit.
Oh, you got to watch it from the beginning. It's a soap opera. It's legitimately banging, but the last season or two, when they ran out of books to follow.
Well, right, that's the thing, right? It's the same thing that happened. She just finished Walking Dead, and her friend was like, "Oh, it's funny how they abandoned a lot of these concepts from the first couple episodes, and then they came back to them in the back half of the last season." And I was like, well, yeah, that's because they abandoned the fucking books. Like there's several points of divergence from the comics, at which point they're writing their own shit, so they get to do whatever the fuck they want.
Sometimes I like that. Sometimes I don't like it when they do that. And mostly because it's like the choices that you made, the source material was a better choice, but sometimes it works out and they add on to it, and it's like, all right, I'm glad that you did it that way.
X-Men the animated series was a great example of taking the source material, adapting it to a different, first of all, to a different medium, obviously, but second, adapting the stories and making them more episodic and like just more relevant for the medium and tell the same kind of quality story. Whereas like when they did everything original, which was what's it called? X-Men. What was the name of that show? The next one was high school. Yeah, Evolution. X-Men Evolution was like all new. One. It was good. It's good, and then it gets even better as it goes. But it's like it's told from like these are high school kids doing high school shit. And then they happen to be mutants, and they happen to be like, instead of them, they only go to Xavier's. No, they live at Xavier's. Xavier's is like the like, I don't want to say like, it's like a halfway home kind of point. And then they go to the real high school. They go to the regular high school. So they got to deal with all of that shit. And I was like, all right, well, this is a different take on the story. Same, characters are similar, same in some fashion. And then when they did,
that's where X-23 came from.
Yes, and I didn't know, because I only saw that episode one time fucking 20 years ago. I didn't realize then, and not until recently, that X-23 was black.
What? I did not know that.
Yeah. Pull up the shots of the episode. Pull up the shots of her mom. X-23 in the show was black.
Is that why they made her Native American in Logan?
Maybe.
Or at least why they didn't
Hispanic
cast like a white
of some
actress.
sort.
Yeah, they were like, if we're not going to do a black lady, we're at least do somebody with some color.
It's possible. It's possible because I never realized it. Somebody pointed that out, and I was like, "What are you talking about?" And then they were like, "Watch the show," and I was like, "Fine." I pulled it up and I watched the episode, and I was like, "No fucking shit!" Like there is a
I didn't know that.
definite,
Oh.
it's a degree of fucking shades difference between her and Wolverine in that show, and I was like, "Damn."
Oh, well then
Because there was never anybody like that I saw on the internet. I didn't see anybody get mad about it. I didn't see, for years. She's been around for fucking almost 20 years now.
I didn't know that she came from the TV show until TikTok. And I saw a video on there with somebody saying it. I always thought that she came from the NYX comic.
No, that was her first
way
comic book appearance. Yeah, that was her first comic book appearance. And I thought they made her Asian in the comics, but no, her mom is from all appearances, she's white. It's just that the first artists that drew her, both of them were very anime inspired. So they're like a lot of their shit looks like Asian characters. But that's just my original thought was like, oh, her mom was Asian. That was what it looked like to me. So,
dude, Rogue was supposed to be black. Chris Claremont
Bishop was supposed to be Filipino.
Oh my God! Thank you.
Bishop was flat. Not even like, oh, maybe. No. The original first sketch. There's an interview with him.
See it. He's a straight up made an Asian man when he made Bishop.
The sketch he gave them was a Filipino dude, and they were like, "What if he was black?" And he's like, "Well, I mean, I meant for him to be Filipino." He's like, "Nah, he's black," and that's what happened. And it's funny because it's like I always thought that Bishop's first appearance didn't look like any black man with long hair that I've ever seen. That's because he didn't draw him like a black man.
Once he left and went to Image is when they turned Bishop black and he became, well, no, he's not. No, is Bishop related to Gateway, or is that somebody else that's related to Gateway?
I believe he is somewhat related to Gateway.
Because Gateway is Aboriginal, so then that would mean that Bishop necessarily wouldn't be black. Yeah, he might be mixed or something like that.
But when they get into relationships and families and shit, who fucking knows?
Yeah,
X-Men family trees look like fucking, if you crack a piece of glass, it just.
I want to say it was Claremont that I saw. He was doing an interview. Rogue was supposed to be black as well. He told the artist to make her look like to draw her like Grace Jones.
Yeah. I remember that.
The artist did not know who Grace Jones was.
And that's what happens when you don't know culture.
This is what you don't know culture, and this is before the internet. So it's just like yeah. So and that's how we get White Rogue.
It's funny because that's
some more.
I just recently found out that the Rickroll, obviously everybody knows the Rickroll in 2023. Rick Astley is big because
wait a minute, who's Rick Astley?
The Rickroll, like when you get Rickrolled, you go to the never gonna give you, right?
You're never gonna do. Okay, I know he's on.
But that's Rick Astley.
The white guy. Everybody.
Rick Astley was 17. He thought everyone thought he was black. No one knew who the fuck he was. That was his first song.
I remember when it came out. We thought he was black.
They played him on every kind of station, and that's why he blew up. Because they played him on everything. Black stations played him, country stations everything played him. So he said there's a video that was it Vice does these fucking great retrospectives on songs. Fucking great watches, dude. Here's the thing you never thought you wanted to watch: a retrospective on the Thong song. Great fucking story.
Actually, I would, because Cisco likes video games, and I listen to Kind of Funny, and so he hops on Kind of Funny a bunch of times on episodes or whatever, talking about video games and shit. So when you're like a doc on that, I'm like, oh yeah, I've listened to this guy on the regular sometimes.
Dude, the story behind that one, they did one on Sean Paul with Get Busy.
Just Give Me the Light.
No, Give Me the Light was not even supposed to be the one. The Get Busy is so fucking. There's a whole all the stories are so interesting.
Yeah, that was the
shit. He calls out that names like Get Busy Joel on that, right? He calls out names. One was his girl The other one was her friend. And the reason he calls out their names is because
Banging both of
as
them.
he was about to go in the studio, she's like, you should say my name in the song. And that's why he says her name in the song.
You know what?
This shit is fucking wild, dude. Dude, this is the
behind the
craziest
scenes
part. So you
stuff,
should watch
yo.
the whole thing. But like the best for me, the funniest takeaway of the thong song retrospective was the beat was made. The producers that made the beat were making like a whole selection of beats to present to Michael Jackson. And they're like, this is how we're going to get in with Mike. We're going to make these beats and we're going to send him like a demo, right? And then Cisco shows up with a complete album. He said, my album is done, but let me see what you got, see if we can do something. And they accidentally put this track on there. It's the first one on the record. They accidentally put this record on there. When they go back and play it for him, he's like, oh shit, I didn't mean for this to be on here. But Cisco was already feeling it. So when he skipped through, and he's like, nah, go back to that first one.
Go back to that.
And then they're like, shit, we were going to give this to Michael Jackson, whatever. And then they're like, fuck it. So they end up doing it and make the song. The song is hot everywhere, you know. And then they get a call from Michael Jackson's manager, and he's like, this is what Mike told me to tell you. If you can make me a song that's hotter than the thong song, meet me at this address. And it was his studio. And it was like, like essentially it did become the way they got in with I was like, that's
crazy.
And that's why I love shit like
crazy.
that. That's why I'm a fan of the like process shit. Like I love hearing the process about shit because that's when you get the best shit, the best, most interesting shit. Like I love knowing that the reason that the Wildcats Mall has fucking horns on his back.
Just you brought it back to Wildcats Mall.
Yeah. Because that's just one of my favorite like pieces of like process like trivia. Everyone like for years people were like,
overt action teams.
Like people were like, oh, like what's this about? What's this about? And his answer has been consistent the whole time. He's like, I made up this motherfucker in 7th grade. I just thought it was cool because I was in 7th fucking grade. And I was like, that's awesome. Like he was like, I still think that shit is cool. I'm keeping him.
Yes. Yeah. That's how it goes. That's how it goes. Yeah.
Like, that's why I don't think the AI shit is going to be a problem. I think for me as a consumer, I'm going to go to people the same way I've been going and say, I want a sketchbook. That's what I want from people. Sometimes I get an original piece or whatever, sketch some shit out. You know, I got some sketchbooks, but like most of the time I'm buying art books or sketchbooks. And if an art book is just printouts of your shit with no like context, with no story, with no nothing, meh.
Well, see, I think
kind of boring. So
I think that would still be different because you still wouldn't want digital art that someone drew in Procreate. Even though that it was dope and it was hand drawn, it's still digital. That's still going to be a print.
No, 100%.
You would want
100%. Even if it's just a printout, like if it's just like, oh, this is some shit I drew in Procreate, I don't really care. But that's why like this is like I've got a bunch of art books. Because again, process, but like this shit is my shit. There's whole articles about this dude's process and how this dude works. Love that shit. You know, like it's cool to just have a piece of Wolverine on a piece of paper. That's awesome. But like, dude, I get bored of that shit real fast.
I swear there was something over here that I wanted to grab. You grabbed that right there within arm's reach. And I just want you to know within arm's reach, my brother.
Oh yeah, I love that shit.
How to draw comics the Marvel way.
I have tried to follow that so many times, man. I don't. There's something in my brain that will not allow me to make a symmetrical anything. I could draw half a circle, great. I can't draw a whole circle to save my life. If somebody was like, make a circle that looks like it's perfect. Might as well shoot me now, motherfucker. I ain't got it.
I can do it in Procreate, but I can't just.
I have tried. Like it's very like I'll show you some shit right now. This is my actual sketchbook. I do it old school. I put stickers and shit on mine. It's like trying to find some shit. Where is it? Here. Here you go. This is a couple pieces. A ghost spider. See, this is a Loki. is weak. Like it's not, I'm not a production quality artist, and I've taken that and I'm okay with it. Like I got no problem with the skill I have. Like here's my it's probably one of my favorite Magnetos. And
I like that.
It's like, it's all right. It's not bad, but it's like okay, here's a great example. This Jon Stewart. Like I can't make a face look good. I just can't. I just can't do it. I can't do it.
My teachers was Jim Lee, Rob Liefeld, and Willis Portacia. Hold on, let me grab something. This is the last thing that I drew or whatever. Like I said, we've got the it's hard to see, but the X-Men joint.
Hold on,
X-Men
pinup. Stop it. We mean you drew that?
Huh?
You drew that whole thing?
Yeah, and then I told you, like when I said I started from the bottom, and now I'm here. Sorry. Here's Domino.
Stop it, fam. Stop it, dude. That's good as shit.
Yeah, like here's what you call them? Nightcrawler. These are painted too. They're not just drawn. First I draw them and then I paint them or whatever. Like I'm an old school artist from like way back. My dream was to learn to be a comic book artist. I just never made it or whatever. So like I started with the pen and pencil.
Rashaad, I got a script. You want to keep working? Dude, I got a script ready. Like I'm
not fast enough. That's the problem. I'm just not fast enough. That's why
I started writing this script 14 years ago. So I'm not on the top.
You know what? You know what? Me and you have to talk because like I do animation now. That's one of the reasons why I switched over, because I was trying to do the comic book thing and I realized I can do it, but I'm not fast enough, and working 8 hours and then it takes me 8 hours to do like a panel when in like it should take me 8 hours to do an entire page. I was like, at this rate, I'll be like dead before this thing comes out. So I switched over to animation. So I'm currently working on my first cartoon or whatever, but I've been able to turn around ideas a lot quicker that way. So it's like
I got one of those in the books too. So you let me know, man. We definitely got to talk.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We talk more on that for sure.
I self-published a book called the Vampire Manifesto. I did like 2 books on those in that series a while back. And so like this cartoon that I'm doing right now is I'm gonna basically do a retelling of it. I'm having some issues because one of my programs not working, so I can't like do the facial mocap, but I feel like it's a problem with my computer, so I need to get that fixed. So like right now I don't have a lot of talking in it, but other than that, well, you'll see it when I post. You'll see when I post it. It's gonna be dope. It's gonna be dope.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. I like to hear that. That's fucking awesome, dude. This is
COVID, man. It changed my whole life. I was sitting in this bitch because like
mine too.
I ended up working from home. I've been working from home since 2020 or whatever. And once I started doing that, I totally reevaluated my life. My sister had to homeschool, which was okay because she went to college to become like a teacher and do all of that type of shit. So she was prepared for it. But then she wanted me to be the art teacher because I drew. And then I realized that after the first class that I did not know what the fuck I was doing. So I dived hardcore into painting and shit. And then that's when I was like, oh, well, then I can do a comic. But then I tried that. I was like, no, this is going to take too long. And then that's when I was like, all right, well, I'll just learn Unreal 5, Character Creator 4, and iClone 8 and learn that shit on my own instead of going to school for it and just do my own fucking cartoons. And then now I can just cut out the entire thing of trying to tell a story. Because, you're trying to get somebody else to put you on. You know what I mean? And it's like, no, fuck that. I can just tell the story and cut out everybody else. Ugh.
I'm not gonna lie, man. That's part of the reason why I started doing the magazine. Like I do the Catalyst magazine. And that's part of why I do it. Is it was a way for me to be like, all right, I have something that I need to produce, and I'm not it's not about excuses about, oh, I'm waiting to find an artist to put this comic out. Like, I got so much story in this world that I'm going to tell. Fuck it. I'm just going to tell it as a prose story. And I'm
What exactly is the magazine?
The magazine is called The Catalyst Digital. It's I do it's an indie. It's like the best of heavy metal and wizard. Like, I really like the Wizard magazine. Like, I like the interviews with the creators.
Old school Wizard fan. Yeah.
But like, bro, that's the whole bottom shelf is Wizard. Shelf above that is Fan, and the other one. I always forget the other one. What the fuck it was called.
I've got a YouTube channel there's a YouTube channel I follow, K Faby, something. It's with Ed, it's with some comic book artists, and they review Wizard issues page by page, and they're just breaking it down.
The old shit is fire,
the guy
man.
who drew X-Men, oh fuck, yo. They did a whole thing. It's like the X-Men had a series, Hulk just did it, and Fantastic Four did it, where like they do like the whole origin thing or whatever.
Oh,
X-Men First Class? No, what? Oh, I can't even look because my iPad is where all of my comics are at and shit. But it's like those three guys. It's three separate guys. Tom Spalora, and I don't know, but that's one of the things they do. All they do is like get like comic books, and then they go page by page. And since they're in the industry, they interview people as well.
Oh, you talking about Pisker. You're talking about
Ed Pisker.
You're talking about Pisker, dude. You know what's funny? I didn't know this dude until family.
Oh, looks like the white version of Run DMC.
Well, that's do you know about his hip hop retrospective?
Yeah. The family tree and hip hop. Yeah, hip hop family tree.
I have those books. I got them from family for Christmas one year, and I was like, I've never heard it. That was like a deep cut for me, because I love my big sister. Like, she's like always looking into like ways to like hit like the core of me, and she was like, oh, this motherfucker likes comic books, and he's always talking about hip hop, so like this, and I had never heard of it. So when she handed it to me, I was like, what the fuck? Like, this is everything. This is me. Like,
yeah, if you like the X-Men, that dude, he did the entire history of the X-Men.
The grand design. Yeah, it's the same. I mean, he just did hip hop family tree for X-Men. That's all he did.
Yeah. I tried to follow him with that horror book that he did, but I was like, I'm not a horror guy, and I was like, Pisker, you took it too far for me. Red Room, that's the name of his book or whatever. I couldn't. I tried, but I couldn't. Although I did drew a cover for Red Room, and he tagged him on it, and he liked it or whatever. Also, shout out to Ed Pisker for just liking my cover.
That's what's up, man.
That's it. I don't know.
I'm not gonna lie, man. I like every once in a while you get like industry names that interact with your shit. Like, no joke, whoever runs Will Smith's TikTok, or Will Smith, if he runs his TikTok, liked my comment. My comment was literally 3 laugh emojis. He did a dad joke. The shit was I still think it's funny as shit. He's like, how do you find Will Smith in Antarctica? And he like walks away from the camera, and he hollers back. He's like, you follow the Fresh Prince. And I was like, that shit's funny. That shit's funny. I'm not even a dad, dude, but that's just funny to me. So I just put the 3 fucking laugh emojis on there, and like a month and a half later, he liked it. And I just like shared that, and I was like, well, game over. Will Smith liked my fucking post. Doesn't matter what it is. It didn't matter that it had no depth, amazing. No anything. Will Smith liked my shit, and I was like, that feels good.
Guy, the main reason why I got into animation was do you know who Doug Manicky? I might pronounce his name wrong. Doug Manicky is. So I follow him on Instagram, and he does his animations that he's been posting over there. Okay. And so like, since I was already doing the paint class for my sister, I was like, well, let me try and do one of these animations. I keep seeing Mr. Doug doing them, and he makes it look easy. It's not. So I did like a 7-second hand animation and Procreate or whatever of some Kung Fu lady doing a kick, doing some just Kung Fu stuff. Really, really, really basic. Very, very basic. And I tagged him on it and was like, hey man, you gave me inspiration. I've been watching you do your animation shit. And that made me want to do mine. This is what I did. And that dude liked it, followed my page, told me he was like, yo, from now on, every bit of animation that you do, you tag me on it. And now, like, whenever if I post pictures that I draw or like animations in my Instagram, he'll like it or whatever. And like the last, I was working on a Star Wars animation that, oh man, it was gonna be banging, but the I deleted the whole thing out of Unreal, and I was like, fuck that, I'm not doing this again because I built the set and I didn't feel like building the set again. So I was like, I posted it to Instagram and was just like, all right, well, this is what I was working on, but I deleted the blah, blah, blah. Fucking Doug was like, oh man, I hate when that fucking happens. Just stay strong, keep your head up. And I was just like, fucking thank you, man. I needed that.
That's what's up.
I was upset about this Star Wars, me deleting this. And I needed space on the hard drive, and it was like I had the file mislabeled wrong. And I thought it was something else. And I was specifically trying not to delete it and deleted that shit. But he came through and was like, yeah, it happens, man. Just push through it. It's understandable. I was like, oh, fucking thank you, Doug. Thank you. I'd be thinking about this shit sometimes when I be doing animation.
I am following him.
Yeah, that guy's fucking awesome. He's I asked him, I was like, I shot him some emails. This is why I fucking love this guy. I had shot him some emails after that on Instagram, and he answered me back. He was giving me like, I was like, how do I break into the comic book industry? He was like, all right, well, this is what you got to do, and you do it this way, and then you need to tag these editors when you post it, and blah, blah, blah. So he was just like fucking just super fucking unnecessarily nice and helpful. Just like in the middle of fucking the whole COVID thing was going on, and he was just like, "Oh yeah, I'll take time out of my day to talk to you, man. No problem." So
that's cool.
Awesome.
That's when you know people are good. Like for the most part, you know, like they got at least a good heart in that aspect.
Yeah.
At the very least, they're willing to help out. From like, oh, I know some shit. I'm gonna pass this information on. That's
cool.
why I don't like gatekeepers. This is why I don't. It was just ironic because earlier you said I was gatekeeping. But I really don't like gatekeepers.
Shit out of here, buddy.
I got gate kept out of calling myself a Star Wars fan.
What do you mean?
I straight up got gate kept out of calling myself a Star Wars fan, and I couldn't wrap my fucking head around it. I was like, confused. Oh, like I'm a fan of Star Wars. Like I've seen the movies. I've seen the 9 movies.
Okay.
I've seen Mandalorian, right? I'm a fan. And I don't like they were talking about The Last Jedi, and I was like, I'm not saying like I gotta be right on this, but like you look at it, like a lot of the
Wait a minute, which one is The Last Jedi? The middle one or the last one?
The middle one. I was like, The Last Jedi.
I did not like that.
I was like, you don't have to like it. I was like, but you can't disagree with me that like a lot of the story points were Empire. Like they just copied the same, like they did the same thing they did with Force Awakens. They copied a bunch of the fucking plot points from the first movie. So with Last Jedi, they copied a bunch of the plot points from the second movie. Like
fair enough.
I'm not saying it's good or bad or one way or the other. This is my observation. And somebody was like, oh, you're not like, they were like basically like you're not a true fan. And I was like, I'm a fan.
Wait a minute, why are you not a true fan? Because you didn't like it?
Because I didn't hate it, right? Because like all the true fans hate it, right? Because it was bad. It was blah 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 whatever.
No. I was like, a lot of people I know like it. Dude,
there are 2 equally strong camps of people who loved it and people who hated it. People who say it was the best one out of the trilogy, and people who say it was the worst one out of the trilogy.
The worst one out of the trilogy.
Like, I was like, why you gotta be on either? Why can't I just be like, I liked it. It was fine. It was, and like I was I like Star Trek more, but like I like Star Wars, so like why can't I be a Star Wars fan? And I told, and this is my guy that nerdy Papa Bear too, that I thought was funny shit. He's good people, so I didn't understand where this came from. But basically I was like, I like Star Trek, or I like Star Wars, but I like Star Trek better. Like the difference for me is like I've watched Mandalorian season 1 and 2, but I haven't yet watched the Book of Boba Fett, and I hadn't, like I'm not watching, like I haven't watched Clone Wars and all this other shit. But I've watched every single episode of Star Trek ever. And my dude was like, "Oh, so you're shitting on it, but saying you're a fan?" And I was like, "How am I shitting on it? I'm just saying I don't like it as the thing I like the most. Like, it's not my favorite shit. Like
it's your shit, but it's
I just thought it was funny as hell. But then I Googled it and I went like super fucking pedantic, and I was like, all right, you know what? The definition of fan means like a fanatical devotion, and I was like, that's fair. I'm a Star Trek fan. I just like Star Wars. I just like Star Wars. Star Wars is fine. Like
I don't like the stranglehold that they have on the Star Trek community, like legal wise. Like so, like you can
that
go
shit
on
was
YouTube.
so fucking stupid, man. I don't even
You know what I'm
get me
saying?
started on that shit. I was watching a bunch of the fucking shows. Like this is how much of a Star Trek fan I am. I was watching like fucking
Star Trek
Gamma
continues?
content. I was watching Gamma content. I wasn't even watching Beta content, and not even books. I was on Gamma content. I was watching Star Trek Continues, which was
I was watching that.
year 4 or whatever, and then I was watching Star Trek Renegades, which they had to completely rebrand and redub a bunch of the third
I
one
remember that.
or the second one or whatever. And Nichelle Nichols is in that. So it's fucking Chekhov. Both of them
a
are
bunch
in
of
that.
people. What the black guy that played a Vulcan?
Tuvok.
Yeah. Wasn't he in it too?
Yeah, I forget his fucking name. I'm real bad at that. But the only reason this all happened, the only reason, and this goes back to our fucking story about D&D and people taking a cut. The only reason this happened is Axanar.
I thought it was because of
Axanar.
That's the one that had all of the Star Trek
Axanar
people
started
came
pulling
together,
in
right?
fucking money. They hit a milli, and CBS was like, "Where's our cut, motherfuckers?" That's all that happened. Because guess what? Star Trek Continues. They ain't never made no $1 million. They had a private community of motherfuckers doing donations.
Right.
They making movies. They print DVDs on demand. Like
they
were
shut
not
down the
making
whole
millions.
industry. They shut.
They cut it all down. They cut it all down. It's got to be 15 minutes or like a maximum of 24 minutes or 27 minutes or some shit like that as a 2 episodes. Like
if you go on YouTube and try and find a Star Wars fan film, you'll get thousands.
It was $1 million.
And a lot of them are banging. If you try to do the same thing for Star Trek, well,
I mean, they're there, but now they're just not as good. They're just not as good.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I watched a bunch of TOS fan films and fan shorts and all this shit.
What series is the best?
I really did like Continues. Like it was the most continuity, and I like a long story.
No. I mean of the official joints.
Oh, official? That's a very complicated question, my friend. Here's the thing.
I'm gonna go with Deep Space Nine, the Dominion War.
I grew up with TNG. I gained sentience with Deep Space Nine, and I gained emotional wisdom from Voyager. Voyager is my favorite.
I just rewatched Voyager. That show still hands up.
Voyager,
that show still holds up.
I don't even need to watch the whole show or even the whole last episode. I watch them come out of that fucking sphere and they say, what the fuck? And she says, "It'll be in my report, sir." And I'm just like, oh, like 7 years of grief and fucking terror and all the shit that that they went through, that we went through. I'm like, I feel it all right there in that moment. Like to me, I don't like Voyager is home. I've watched that the most times. I'm a fucking psychopath. I watch in chronological order. So I watch Enterprise.
Oh, that's
then I watched I watched Enterprise, then TOS, then I watched the first movies, and then I watched the first 20 minutes of Generations.
Serial killer.
Watched the first 20 minutes of Generation until Kirk dies, and then I watched all of Next Generation, and then watched the rest of Generations.
How I do my Buffy and Angel watch is I don't watch the majority of both of them. I start at the Dawn season, and then I watch that season, and then the last season of Buffy where she dies, and then where like Spike dies, and then I jump over to Angel to the episode where he comes out of the amulet. And then becomes like a cast member, and then I just continue the story forward, like I'm following the Spike timeline.
So you're just following Soul Spike. You're following Spike with a soul. Yeah.
I'm following that
the
shit.
Soul Spike watch. I like that. That's interesting.
It takes you through a bunch of good episodes, dude. when I used to live in Oakland, my living with my ex-fiance at the time, and she was the Buffy fan and the Angel fan, hardcore. I did not give a fuck about Buffy and Angel. However, I did give a fuck about Anne Rice and Interview with a Vampire. So I was reading Interview with a Vampire at that time. And then one day we were watching an Angel episode, The Shroud of Ramon. And I swear to God, that was like the hardest fucking episode imaginable. That shit enraptured me. And from that moment on, I was like, maybe I need to pay attention to this show with the blonde-haired girl that's kicking everybody's ass. And I started paying attention because I never paid attention. I just did other shit while she watched it. But after that, I was like, I'm on board. I'm on board.
Here's the thing. You're a little bit
fucking
older
Angelus.
than me.
I wanted to name my kid that.
Bro, you're a little bit older than me. And you let me know from your perspective. Isn't it wild that in the 2020s, all these old motherfuckers are out here being like, oh, this character is a Mary Sue. She's too powerful, blah, blah, blah. When they were the motherfuckers watching Buffy, and that bitch just won. Buffy just won. She just won.
Buffy,
she just always had enough strength.
You didn't want a shot box with Buffy. You know what I'm saying? You didn't want a shot box with God. None of that. Yeah.
Like,
I never got it.
And like these motherfuckers are out here like
Sarah Connor.
Sarah Carter, Captain Marvel's too powerful. She's powered by like a fucking super nuke or some shit. Like the fuck, she's powerful. That's the point. That's the whole point. Her whole point is power.
When they bring in the X-Men, are we going to get the rogue power drain?
They're going to lose.
Are we going to get
no?
Are we going to get in the rogue power drain where she takes Captain Marvel's power?
I would love that. I would love.
How do you want them to introduce the X-Men?
Here's the thing. I did a whole episode on this. Hold on. I did a whole episode on this on my comic book podcast, but here's the quick and dirty. You do a TV series, 2, maybe 3 seasons, set in the 60s or whatever earlier period, which then explains away why all these motherfuckers like why certain people are white. Like a lot of people are like, oh, Charles Xavier should be black. I'm like, no. The whole point is he was a rich white dude with a school full of other people's children.
Your boy,
people just let him have
to play Charles Xavier. Juan Carlo.
No. That's a hella rumor.
No, I just saw him do a post himself saying he did an interview saying that he is very interested in playing.
I mean, he's interested in it.
Professor X.
Yeah,
and he already has a relationship with Disney.
Channing Tatum's interested in playing Gambit too, and that ain't gonna happen either.
Channing Tatum should have played Gambit.
Absolutely, he should have,
because he's an excellent actor.
But he's not gonna. That's a wild statement you just made, sir. That is a wild statement you just made.
Hey, Channing Tatum can act, man. Come on now. Come on. I mean, I'm not expecting the Oscar out of him, but if I see him on screen, I know that he's.
I think he's a good actor. I think he's a good actor.
Comedic gold.
I like him. I really like him. I like movies.
21 Jump Street. Come on.
No, great film. I didn't see 22 yet, but great film. The big thing for me is I like watching shit that's like super inspirational and shit that I could never do. Like, sports movies that are super inspirational. Love that shit. I'm not a sports guy. I don't even like watching sports. Like, I'm just not a sports guy. And like the fucking Step Up, all of those movies, very inspirational.
Step Up to the streets.
All the movies are super inspirational. Here's the thing. I believe I dance well. Other people have told me I dance well, but I don't look that good. I can't do those flips and shit.
They don't make them gangster dancing movies no more, where they were thugs, but they also could like, tell me Stomp the Yard isn't one of the hardest movies of all time. Come on, isn't that the one where one of them died in the beginning?
The brother, the brother.
B2K or something. Well, hold on, I threw you.
No. Chris Brown dies.
How did you want the X-Men? Where did they come from? That's what I mean.
Let's reconnect, and I'll tell you. Here's how I would do it. I'm a firm believer in embracing the fucking wild comic book bullshit. Okay, so here's how I would do it. The way I would do it is I would introduce them in a TV series, like I said, 2 to 3 seasons. Season 1, you're just following them, getting together. It's the 60s, like all the requisite shit, and you're getting together the original team. Here's the original 5, and
Mhm.
you just throw in
I'm
early
over
on,
that so
episode
far.
1, early on, you say mutants live longer, right? Period. Just mutants are longer lived. That's all you need to say. And that's how you get
I can dig
Magneto
it.
in 2025 or whatever the fuck. You just say that they live longer, and we just like ignore time, the passage of time. You do that first season, they get together, and at the end of the first season, you post-credit scene, a dude in the same house that we saw at the end of Endgame. I hope you know where I'm going with this. Reading a newspaper, seeing a report of like mutant terrorists seen, suspected or whatever. It's like, what the fuck is this? What's a mutant? That's all you see. Season 2, we're expanding the roster. We get a little newer costumes, prettier costumes. Everybody's become a little more individual. We introduce some of the other cooler superheroes. You bring in the Storm, you bring in, right, all these other characters. And that season ends with, and the like plot line, I don't want to say the plot line's irrelevant, but there's like so much, like, 70 years of X-Men to draw from. You could pull whatever story you wanted into those seasons.
Yeah.
But at the end of the second season, you bring in literally, this like the mission's over, and you're like, oh, but there's like 4 minutes left in the episode. Like, this feels like it's winding down. What's going on, right? Like, the audience is curious. Why does this feel like it's ending so soon? And then as they're about to walk off, fade to black, Xavier's like, Bobby, get the door. And he, Bobby's like, what the fuck? He walks over to the door. As you have to walk up to it, somebody knocks on the door. He opens the door,
Captain
and
America.
You have Captain America, Steve Rogers, in disguise, maybe a little mustache, a little beard, but like classic 60s, 70s style beard.
Is
right?
this old man time travel Steve Rogers?
This is original Cap. He's like
pre in the water Steve Rogers. Or is this the Steve Rogers that traveled back in the past to drop off the stones?
He's already put away all the stones, and he's like, cool, I'm just gonna sit here, do my shit, and not interfere with the timeline, because I know that we only have one shot at winning this. So I'm gonna fucking sit here and be I'm gonna do what I can here and there a little bit, but I'm not moving no big boulders. I'm not moving big boulders, because if I move big boulders,
I can't change the timeline.
We're not gonna be in the fucking arrangement that we need to be up there. So he shows up and he's like, y'all can't be here. Because in 2020, there was no mutants. There was no X-Men. And he's like, y'all can't be here. Who the fuck? Like, what is going on? You don't understand. And he's like, excuse me, who are you? And he's like, I am. And then Xavier wheels up in the chair and he's like, Mr. Rogers, I think we need to talk. And season 3, the whole premise is they need to figure out a way to erase mutants from existence without actually obviously killing anybody. Magneto sees this as a huge threat, like they're trying to kill us off, like this is bullshit. And Xavier's like, nah, like I've seen this motherfucker's mind, like we aren't there to help this happen. And what you do,
but Professor X wouldn't want to hide mutants.
What are you talking about? That's his whole thing. In the early days, that's his whole thing. But hear me out.
I know that part. Go ahead.
Hear me out. So in the Uncanny X-Men series, right before the current Krakoan era of X-Men, they did this thing. They had this device. I don't know if you read it, but they did this device that Emma made everybody on Earth unable to even perceive mutants. Like you could blast off your powers right in front of them in the middle of a park crowded with 1,000 people. Nobody sees shit.
Oh, I don't like that.
And so
I like the old school Professor X had to mind wipe the crowd.
But that's what I'm saying. This is the thing. This is what I'm saying. Like Xavier's like, look, we're not going to kill nobody. We're not going to let them kill us. But what we're going to do is we're going to make us imperceptible to them. So we're not going to be persecuted anymore. Our kids aren't going to be chased down. Like we'll know, but they won't know. So what we have is 40 years of X-Men building up their ranks, building up their little cliques and niches, that once the snap happens and once everybody comes back, that's when motherfuckers start showing up. After the snap, everybody's like, oh shit. And like maybe as soon as they come back, whoever was maintaining the device dies or like they got snapped, and that's why everybody started seeing mutants right during the snap. So you could tell either a whole season or a movie set during the snap where it was mutants, all mutants. Like this is why all the bullshit with the government happens in Falcon and Winter Soldier. Like they're just like real iffy about shit, especially when people come back. They're like, oh, we got all this other shit going on. So like,
yeah.
But during that time of we're hiding, right? Xavier just has this gnawing at him of like, my whole goal was to like create coexistence, and now we gotta hide. And for 40 years, this motherfucker is just holding on to this like we should be out there. And what I think you could do, have a really interesting polarity flip. Magneto likes that they haven't been persecuted, that they've just been able to grow and live. So once the spell vanishes in the present day, Magneto's like, bet we got our own spot. Like, don't worry about it. We're good. We're good over here on Krakoa. Right? Or when the fucking, because I think there's a rumor that the dead celestial body is gonna be.
Is that where they're gonna get animanium from?
That's where they're gonna get adamantium from, and that might be what becomes Genosha. And I was like, I don't hate that, but I'm like,
what if that's where they get animanium from? That means that Wolverine would be in a recent invention, or Weapon X Wolverine would be a recent invention in order to coat his bones in it.
Yeah, but then you have a cool, brand new, and you can have him be as young as you want.
I have no problem with that.
As soon as they bring him in, you just say, you know how like you know when they start examining him or whatever, you know how we all like live like really long lives, like we all kind of like age very slowly. He's that times 1,000. And that's why he was in fucking Continental War and shit, like in Canada. You know, like that's why he was in the War of 1812. You can do all these stories because you just say, oh yeah, this motherfucker's been around.
He's ancient. He's apocalypse.
Yeah, he's old as shit. Like it's like it becomes even weirder that he wants to fuck Jean Grey because you know when he first met her, she was 19, he was 106. Now he'll be 1,005.
There's some weird shit in all of that early era things, okay?
But you know what's funny? When they had the opportunity to not do that in Ultimate, they still did that. And I was like, we just did that anyway. But you know what's funny? I really thought it was hilarious. I take credit for some things that are in the universe because I come up with shit a long time ago. My mind is always going. I came up with a lot of shit a long time ago. I invented
by the time
Ultimate Venom.
Invented snowboarding.
I invented Ultimate Venom.
How did you do that one?
I wrote a bootleg Spider-Man comic in like 7th grade, ironically, 7th grade. 7th grade, I'm like, because that was when the Venom saga came out on TV, and I was like, that's so fucking cool. I'm like, but what if the costume was backwards? So first, I invented anti-venom. That was the first thing I did. and when I was showing it off to the kids in school, they're like, oh, was it into the alien? I'm like, no. It's a suit built by the government. Ultimate Venom.
when I was in my thing's about to die. When I was in 7th grade in North Carolina, it snowed, and so we unscrewed the wheels off of our skateboards, and then we started surfing down the hills with the snow. And then when I grew up, I saw white people snowboarding. And I was like, we made that shit up in North Carolina.
Hell yeah. But you know what? I'm a believer that like if it's some shit you really want, and a lot of people agree, if you put that out in the universe, it's gonna get done. Cause like at the end, right when Cyclops came back to life in that second in the Uncanny run right before the Krakoan era, I was like, oh shit. I'm like, he died, she died. Their legal marriage is dissolved because it's till death do us part, motherfucker. They both died legally. They are no longer married. I'm like, if you just make them a throuple with Logan because he's gonna come back, you just make them a fucking polycule.
That's what they did, right?
And literally like 6 months later, they come out with the Krakoan era and they're fucking. And I was like, y'all welcome.
You're in the wrong industry.
I was just so sick of reading fucking love triangle. The worst. Everyone says the worst line from X-Men is what happens to a toad. No, the worst line from X-Men is stay away from my girl, Logan. That's a dumb fucking, like, what a bitch line.
Do you know the original origin for Wolverine that got changed at the last minute? He was Barry Windsor Smith when he did the Weapon X
Oh yeah.
storyline. The original thing was that he was supposed to be a actual Wolverine that had
Oh
gotten
yeah.
mutated into a human, and
I
then the
forgot about that
person
shit.
that was behind the screen
That's right.
in the shadows was supposed to be Apocalypse. And it was like all the way up to right when the issue was about to drop. That's when they did the change, and they told him that they didn't want him to go that route and to change it or whatever. But if you like have that knowledge in your head when you read Weapon X, then you can see that, like, oh yeah, he was definitely going in that direction. But
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. There's
those
a lot
behind the
of really
scenes
interesting
stories.
fucking background stories about how characters were made and shit. Really
Yeah,
interesting
yeah,
shit.
it's crazy.
Yeah. But like that's
But
another
anyway,
go ahead.
let me let you go because my this thing is about to die.
All right, man.
My
All right, man.
headphones.
Thank you for coming on. Thank you for
Oh,
a
no
great
doubt.
fucking time. We're definitely gonna talk about making some shit.
Oh, hit me up, bro, because I'm hit me up. Hit me up.
We'll talk.
I'll send you some tests, some stuff that I'm working on right now.
All right, bet. All right,
All
man.
right.
Appreciate you for coming on. I'll see you
Oh,
on
no
TikTok.
doubt. Hey, thank you for having me. It's been a blessing. It's awesome to guest on your show. I've never done anything like this. Hope it did a good job. Everything
Did
like
a
that.
great job.
Sorry,
Man.
there is a gnat that's driving me crazy, yo.
I know how that is, man. I know how that
is. Okay. All right, brother. You take it easy.
All right, you too, man. See ya.
All right. Peace.
All right, that's going to be it for this one. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for listening. If you aren't already, make sure you follow Rashaad on TikTok. Links are in the podcast description, in the episode description below. Again, thank you for watching. If you're listening, we'll see you in the next one.